and our weekly video segment to take you into the back shelves of your local video store, back where it says horror videos, and where kids are devouring some awful films that we call the video nasties.
Are you freebasing? Inquiring minds want to know.
I have to break free from this culture of mechanical reproductions and the thick incrustations dying on the surface.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
Monmouth the new Fletch.
The pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite. As for our deaths, come with me and be immortal.
We have such sights to show you.
Gotta return some videotapes.
Hello, Hungry Hounds. Welcome to the It Slays podcast. I'm your humble host, Rowan.
I'm European Mike.
Of course you are. It's undead, Jill.
And we are back with a special guest. Yeah, Will, you gotta have a special introduction. Like, geez, you can't just come in like you're Colton or something, just a normal guy that, coming in. You're special to us. We're Coltonless, special guest, Willow here, applause, insert sounds.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here again for an actual Pride Month pick, and I'm a David Bowie fangirl, so I'm really excited to talk about The Hunger.
It's a shame Colton wasn't here for the preamble of when you were like making sure no one was recording because you were talking about Jurassic Park 3, your all-time favorite movie. You were playing it over and over again, but it would ruin your reputation and stuff. So unfortunately, he missed all that.
Speaking of ruining, I have bones to pick apparently with a lot of people about that, but that's fine. We'll talk about it later. I just want to talk. I just want to meet them in an alleyway and just talk. That's all.
We'll talk to you.
But yes, we are back, and yeah, I mean, let's start off. I feel like we're going to have a lot to discuss. So you know where we're starting. What have we been consuming? What have we been watching? What have we been listening to? What have we been reading? All of that lovely, lovely stuff. Willow, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, I'd love to. So last night, we had our local movie club gather in St. John's. It's kind of my favorite thing that we do locally. Mike is part of this club. Also, some of our other friends, like my husband and some people that I've known for a long time, and author David Demchuk. It's a wonderful group. And last night we
You're
watched,
saying because me and Jill aren't part of it, it's your favorite thing?
I mean,
is that what?
100%, yeah.
Yeah, jeez.
Shade.
You both have been to our movie clubs before, we would love to have you if you still lived in St. John's. Yeah, we always talk
We've been
about
to
it.
them and never get the invite again. So that goes to show you how good a guest we were.
Stop it.
Maybe you were Tommy Texter through the whole thing.
And the snacks are great at those.
I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
So last night we watched a double feature of old gay movies from the 1960s. The first of which was the documentary The Queen, which followed the 1967 Miss America Camp Beauty Pageant, which was a beauty pageant for drag queens, and some of the contestants in that would later go on to be in the documentary film Paris is Burning, close to 30 years later. The Queen is this great old queer documentary. It's shot on 16mm. It's cinema verite. It's very catty. It's very fly on the wall. It's just all of these queens talking about their process of getting ready, and then talking about a lot of other social stuff that's going on at the time, like the war in Vietnam, whether or not they should transition, what it's like for gay men in the late 1960s. It's fantastic. And then we followed that up with Mike's beautiful 4K edition of Who Killed Teddy Bear, which features hunk Sal Mineo, who is a famous gay actor who starred in Rebel Without a Cause back in the 1950s and had a huge crush on James Dean in that movie. But Who Killed Teddy Bear is kind of an American giallo. It's a bit of a freak out. It has psychedelic form, but the main draw for us yesterday evening, while we were drunk on Merlot, was Sal Mineo lounging around in boxer briefs through the entire movie, posing, close-ups on various parts of his body, like his rib cage, his forearms, and it looks great in 4K.
Arm hair in 4K, we found out. Wonderful.
It's the new water on 4K, we found out.
Yes, that's how we judge how good a disc looks.
Right, because I have this thing where, like, if I'm drunk enough, I'll just start saying, like, oh, the water looks so beautiful on 4K, and everyone makes fun of me for it.
But it usually does, so,
It really does, though. But yeah, that was a wonderful time. This will be of interest to Rowan, but Trevor and I, while we were sick a few weeks ago, were fucked up on cough medicine and decided to watch Ernest Saves Christmas.
Hell yeah.
For some inexplicable reason. It's June, it's hot, Ernest, Christmas. It's not a good movie, but when you're fucked up, it's like Rowan's like shaking his head in disapproval.
I watch it every year. It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
Okay. Maybe I just need to not watch it in June. But it's a bizarre film to watch when you're messed up on cough medicine and stuff. But yeah, it was, it's an Ernest movie. You know what to expect with Ernest movies.
It's actually a good movie.
That's was
right.
My husband, Trevor, who just ran into the room and defended Ernest.
As he should.
Yeah, Trevor from Stream Screams, which is, we're patiently waiting for the next episodes of that. Yeah, also watched the classic gay film Desert Hearts from the mid-1980s. It's one of the great lesbian love story movies.
Love it.
Yeah, it was made in the mid-1980s by Donna Deitch, and it's about this woman who arrives in Reno, Nevada in 1959, and she's in the process of getting a divorce. So she goes to this ranch for a period of time to kind of decompress and cleanse and kind of reset herself. But while she's there, she runs into this flirty, tomboyish woman named Kay, and they end up in a whirlwind romance with one another. It's one of the rare gay movies from its era where it has a happy ending. It's very lovely. There's a lot of explicit sex in it. It's fantastic.
There's a lot of Patsy Cline in it.
There's so much Patsy Cline. The soundtrack is so good. There's Patsy Cline, there's Johnny Cash, there's Kitty Wells. There's a lot of late 50s rock and roll like Buddy Holly. It really, really sets the scene. It's a great movie. I also watched the Alex Cox punk rock western Straight to Hell starring Joe Strummer and Courtney Love before Hole were a band. She was dabbling with becoming an actress in the 1980s, so she's in a handful of movies. And this is one where she plays like a woman who gets caught up in the criminal syndicate of a bunch of bank robbers, and she's just screaming and complaining the entire time, and she's great, and I love her. Straight to Hell is a really fun movie. It's currently on the Criterion Channel. What else did I watch? What else do I want to watch? What else do I want to talk about? Yeah, I'm gonna skip a lot of the junk that I watched while I was sick. But yeah, the last movie that I'm gonna talk about is, I recently rewatched Avalon Fast's Camp, and this is a new horror movie made by a non-binary queer filmmaker. They are Canadian. They live in Alberta. They have family in Newfoundland. Camp is fantastic. It follows a woman who is dealing with the grief that she experienced after she witnessed her friend accidentally OD on her stash of drugs. So in order to cope with the grief that she's experiencing, she takes a job as a camp counselor at a Christian camp. She does not believe in God, and when she arrives at the camp, she befriends a lot of other women who are going through similar things that she is, and she discovers that they don't believe in God either. They actually believe in Satan. They're a coven. They end up forming a symbiotic relationship with one another. It has echoes of The Craft, but the entire movie is about grief and tackling that grief with other women who are fucked up like you. And the film is kind of like a tone poem, but it has all of these other moments of like very expressive camera work and lighting and color that reminded me of Alice in Wonderland, Suspiria,
Ooh.
Jean Rollin. This is one of my favorite films in quite some time, and Avalon is a lovely person, and I think it's not just that she's one of the best young Canadian filmmakers or one of the best young queer filmmakers. I think she's one of the best young filmmakers, full stop. The film has just recently been released into cinemas, and it's only in independent cinemas right now, but it's supposed to be on VOD in a couple of weeks, and I think that everyone should check it out. I think that it's total Jill bait. I think that you would like it, Mike, and I hope you would like it too, Rowan, because it's just a fantastic movie, and I really like it a lot. Those are all the movies that I'm going to talk about, because I've watched a lot of stuff, and I don't want to stretch the length of the podcast out. But I've also been reading this book, Black Star Rising in the Purple Rain, which is an academic textbook about David Bowie and Prince. So we're on topic with David Bowie, and I've really been enjoying that. It's been deepening my relationship with both of those artists. They were both important to me. When I was forming my musical taste, forming my identity, I love them both, and it's fantastic. And that's about it for me. What have you been up to, Jill?
Dude, I'm sorry. I've been cracking up this entire time because I just noticed Rowan's hat. Just take a moment to read his hat.
What does your hat say, Rowan?
My hat says it's a bad day to be a hot dog.
Oh my god.
That is so fucking stupid.
It was so nonchalant.
I love it.
Here's Willow like saying some really nice stuff, and I read Rowan's hat. I'm trying to hold it together, dude. Just added your things to my letterbox list as well, Willow.
Yeah, wonderful.
I'll have to watch those.
I really hope that you like Camp in particular. I think that you would really like that one a lot.
It sounds like you said some Jill bait, so we shall see. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. I haven't really watched a lot, so this is going to be games, a book, 2 TV shows, and 1 single movie that I've seen since our last recording. So I'll start off with the book. I'm reading an anthology right now. It's called Teenage Girls Can Be Demons by Hailey Piper. She's a trans author, actually.
I love Hailey Piper.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's great.
I've read her stuff before in other anthologies, but I've never read a total anthology just written by her. I've only read 2 stories so far. One was a trans story, and one is just like a teenage girl story. But I'll just read the kind of blurb on the back here. So it's like coming of age stories. So these stories take our most difficult years of transformation and twist them into new and terrifying shapes where the monsters are real and you'll do whatever it takes to get away or get even. So that's always up my alley, like revenge, monsters, women as monsters. Yeah, this is a Jill bait book as well, since we're like birthing that term, apparently.
Yes. I had to text Jill the other day and be like, we made up this name for you that you need to use as your screen name.
I'll have to make another like side account for it.
Yeah, your alt.
My alt. I'm glad you guys like Hailey Piper, and you know who she is, so that makes me happy because I love her work. Go ahead.
There's a new one that she just put out that I kind of want you to read because I've been dying to read it, and I think I'm going to buy it very soon.
What is it?
It's A Game in Yellow.
Wait.
And it's a riff on the Robert Chambers
piece, I did see that.
The King in Yellow. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to get that one because
everyone's been like raving about it. So
hell yeah. Good. Yeah. I'll check
Book
that
club.
out. Book club. It's the It Slays Book Club. Someday we'll get our own page because Rowan's been
That should be like the next podcast that you guys do. Just like starting It Slays Book Club.
It'll be
like
me and Mike, and occasionally Rowan will read something.
Just big old centaur dongs.
And I'll be reading like the worst trash you've ever heard of in your life, and occasionally something like tasteful.
Not very often, though.
Not very often. Like once in a blue moon, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far I'm liking that. I'm coming out of a really big reading slump because I actually do have a book club with my friends. And so we take turns picking things, and they're really into dark romance. And I feel like I'm not really so much into dark romance. And so the last book was dark romance, and it took me like over a month to read, and now I'm like 7 books behind on my reading challenge for the year. And yeah, I need to get reading and get out of that slump. Okay, and then I went to the theater to go see Backrooms.
Nice.
Yeah. So I had a decent theater experience this time because when I went to go see Obsession, I had a horrible time in the theater. But I went to the same independent theater that I went to when I went to see Masters of the Universe. And I went at night and there was only one other couple there. I went with my friends. But of course, for some reason, they were sitting in our seats. I'm like so sick of that happening every time. Like I go to the theater.
Do they know there's assigned seats?
Yeah. Get the fuck out of my seat. And then they like try to act like they're
Sally
confused,
seat stealer.
or they try to like
hello?
fight you. Like it's so awkward, man. I hate it.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, if someone's sitting in your seat and won't get up, that means that they busted in and don't have tickets for that movie.
Probably.
That's literally, there's no reason other than that.
There is a lot of that. Actually, yeah, there's one other thing that happened, and this happens in like every horror movie I go to all the time. It's like when a group of like 10 kids, like teenagers, comes in and they'll sit there and they'll have like a normal like volume conversation and for like 10 minutes and then they'll get up and leave and they don't come back. Does that happen to you guys ever?
I haven't had that happen, but I have had teenagers chase each other around the cinema while I was watching a horror movie recently. We watched the new 28 Years Later movie, and it was like easily the worst experience we had in the cinema, like maybe ever, because throughout, like, teenagers were just like chasing each other, and it was like, what is happening here? Like, we need ushers back in the cinema. I don't want to be like a movie cop or whatever, but
no,
like there has to be a limit.
Jill
right?
does though, so
I am a Karen. Every single time I go, I can't handle it. But yeah, that happened, and I guess it was at like a quiet part of Backrooms, so maybe they're like, oh, this isn't like the meme that we saw online, and so they left. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they didn't think it was the right movie. But anyways,
it'd be funny if they thought they were seeing Obsession and then they went to Backrooms instead.
Actually, yeah, that's cosmic. I do like that.
Yeah.
I know that Rowan and Colton both gave Backrooms a yay, so you guys liked it relatively. Yep. I am not quite sure about your rating, Willow, but I did read your review.
I'm mixed on it. I think the director shows promise, and I hope that he answers that promise, because I think that this is a flawed but interesting movie. So I'm like, I don't regret watching it at all. Like, if I, hypothetically speaking, if I was on this podcast talking about Backrooms, I would give it an okay. I had a perfectly fine time with it, and I think Mike also had a perfectly fine time with it. Yeah.
I liked it. I just didn't think it was as good as the actual YouTube series. I thought that was...
See, I never saw any of the YouTube movies, but I was watching it and went like, this could have been a 10-minute long movie. And I guess it was.
Well, the YouTube series in total is like 2.5, 3 hours, because it's quite a few videos, but it's all told like non-linear, and you have to put it together, and it's all told from the end of like the corporation. So you're watching like employee training videos and like all, just stuff that a corporation would put out to cover up stuff. And I just thought it was more interesting that way than, a bigger budget version where they change a lot about it. And like, there's a lot of things that just for movie's sake, you gotta change, which, having listened to more and more of, Kane Parsons talk, like, that was purposeful. He didn't want it to he wanted it to be almost its own thing, not really have anything to do with the YouTube series. I just happen to like the YouTube series better, so.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the YouTube series. I've seen like snippets of people like streaming the game. I know that's not like totally related to the movie either, but yeah, I went with my friends. They all liked it a lot more than I did. Like, I think they loved it. For me, I think I'm with like what Willow kind of said. It's an okay for me. Like, it was perfectly fine as a watch. I don't know. I feel like there wasn't a lot of substance, maybe. It's just like loosely based off this concept. And then I also think I expected more horror from it, and I think it really lacked in that department for me. So
a friend of mine said that it doesn't have a killer instinct, and I think that that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Kane Parsons is very good at creating an environment, but he isn't actually good yet at making that environment scary.
Yes.
I don't actually think that there's anything, like, terrifying, like, lurking around the corners in backrooms, and I feel like it should feel like there should be terrifying things around the corner. Like there should be, like, an uneasy, unsafe feeling with it, but instead I just found it kind of cozy, and, you know, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's a fun
I was
movie.
picturing myself in there, and I was like, I'm not scared about anything other than, is there radiation in here? Am I getting cancer? Like, what is this?
Oh my God.
I feel like, too, it has a lot to do with, like, what your opinions on, is it scary or is it not scary, of liminal spaces in general, I think is, like, the other thing. As someone that, like, I consume a unhealthy amount of liminal space content on YouTube, so it was kind of like what I was expecting from it. Like, I find liminal spaces aren't necessarily disturbing anyway. It is almost like this, like, it's supposed to be like a relaxed, uneased feeling of just, like, something that should be busy but isn't. And,
yeah.
It's like I said, we talked about it huge when we reviewed it. It's just, I think the issue with Backrooms, it's a medium that works like as a YouTube analog thing, like liminal spaces work in that medium. It doesn't really necessarily work in a huge movie theater on a huge movie screen. Like, it's a very analog thing. You're supposed to be seeing like shitty quality videos of these places, not a 4K definition of these places.
Yeah.
Mike and I were saying we wanted to see the gay version of Backrooms, where like Chiwetel Ejiofor like walked into a room and there was just like glory holes all over the wall that he could explore.
You walk in the back room and it's just holes in the wall with dicks.
It very well could exist. I mean, that's what I kind of
or
like.
Or you don't walk through the wall all the way. You just kind of like walk up to it and like put your
dick
whatever
in.
through. Yeah.
I mean, that's the joys of the Backrooms, really, is like after the movie came out, I'm now into like, there's so many other creators from like all different countries that have done their own series of just kind of taking it wherever they want to take it, but still rooting it in that original. So I was going to say, it wouldn't surprise me that there wouldn't be something like that out there.
Very interesting.
Yeah, next Pride, you guys have got to do like the gay porn parody of Backrooms.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, it'll definitely. I'm telling you, it's called Backdoors. Like,
I'm gonna need closets too. Lots of closets. Walk-in closets.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes.
But yeah, it just didn't quite hit the mark for me. I don't know why. I don't know also if it's because I just saw Obsession and I thought that was a much better movie, and it's hard not to compare the two when they're both kind of out at the same time and both receiving a good amount of hype.
They're both like the big horror movies of the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like I said, it just felt like this was all a concept, not a lot of substance. I was trying to make sense of it and nothing really made sense, and that drives me insane. And then I was talking to my friend about it, and he's like really big on all the backroom stuff, and he was like, it's not supposed to make sense. And I'm like, well, why did I just watch this movie? I just remember.
Yeah, then why did you make a feature out of it and not just
make it a short? But at the end of the movie, like the very last shot happened, and I was like, audibly, I was like, okay. And then I was like, I don't know how to feel. But I think I just expected to like it more, and I didn't, and it was kind of disappointing for me. And then I'm still watching the Castlevania Netflix series, still on the first season, working my way through that, almost done. I also started watching Fear the Walking Dead as well, randomly. Because it was on Netflix. I had kind of steered away from watching that when it came out, I think a couple years ago, because I like The Walking Dead, like the main series, and I try to stay away from the offshoots because they're usually not as good in my experience. But so far, I am liking it. It's not The Walking Dead, but it's set in the same time frame when things started to pop off in that universe, and so it's kind of like a time capsule too. It's like very 2010, which I like. Have any of you I seen that?
I think I saw like
I
the first
haven't.
episode when it came out, not like willingly. I think I was like
Oh my
at
god.
X's parents' house or something. And they watched it. I saw The Walking Dead for like a couple seasons, and
Yeah, I think I got to season 3. Maybe.
yeah, I'm just. I say every time, I'm just like long TV series. I'm so bad at watching. To sit there for an hour an episode for like 22 episodes, it's just. I'm like, this could be 22 movies
Rowan,
I'm watching.
You are such a fascinating person, because before we went on air, you said I'd have nowhere to put all of my TV seasons.
Yeah, because I
did say that.
Because I'm like, eventually I'll get to them. Like, if stuff interests me, most of my TV watching too is like, it's like comfort stuff. It's like I only
old stuff that you know already.
Like I own a bunch of seasons like Law and Order, like because I can just put it on while I'm doing something, and it's just
That's true. I do that too. Like if I have insomnia, even though like ACAB, I will probably put on Law and Order because I can just close my eyes. And
I used to watch it with like my grandparents and stuff, so it's just like I've always kind of been into it, and I'm like, oh, cool, I can clean the house or something while that's playing.
I mean, it's a procedural, so it's got like a formula, and you know the characters, so you can just like kind of listen to it and know what's going on. I get it.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
It's familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't hate on me, because that was my COVID activity, was watching the entirety of The Walking Dead.
I was just gonna say Rowan has like Law and Order ASMR. Like that's the way he treats Law and Order.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I also had a COVID show too, but like the one that we watched was The Sopranos, and I got like so obsessed with The Sopranos, and like I've been almost afraid to revisit it because I like don't want to like pull up like COVID vibes again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny you say that, because I was taking a walk today. I'm currently like on a 2-week break from work right now. I'm about to enter my 2nd week. I'm going frigging crazy because I just need to be doing something. So I'm going for like 2 walks every day with the dogs, and I'm like, man, I could really do another bout of COVID. Like, if people didn't have to die or get sick or be harmed, it'd be cool just to have like...
What you want is the world to shut down.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I think I could handle it better this time.
Not because of disease. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just remember you heard it here first. When some sort of disease leaks, we know where the leak came from.
I just need a break, okay? And I want everyone else to have a break, and I just want us to like be stuck inside and do our little activities. And then we should have like an annual, like everyone gets a paid 2 weeks off at the same time, and we just like remember COVID. All right. What else? Okay, I got a couple more things. Just games, really. It's the Steam summer sale, so I got a couple of like really cheap games to play, like really stupid games. I've been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight, kind of unrelated. There's like a new event out, and I've just been playing that nonstop. But I also, during the Steam summer sale, got a Dead by Daylight dating simulator game.
Oh my god, you need help, girl. You need help.
It's called Hooked on You. It's like you're stuck on an island with all the killers, and you have to date them. And so, yeah, I've been playing through that.
It sounds very, very Jill coded.
It is. I don't appreciate all the judgment, but anyways. And then the other game I got for $3 is called Cozy Organizer, and it's basically just like ASMR. Like you just move stuff around and organize it, like put food in a fridge or put a puzzle together. And
chores,
really nice.
The game.
There you go.
Do you turn on Law and Order while you do it, or
I might next time, actually. Yeah. Anyways, that's all I've been up to. What have you been up to, Michael?
Oh my god. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to start with... So this has been... Okay, here we go. Hear me out. So every year I say, I'm going to do certain things. Like I'm going to watch a horror movie every day in October. And I'm just like... And then I watch like 3 and go, this is what I do anyway. So like, why am I stressing out that like I need to do this. Like, I'm just constantly watching horror movies anyway. But this year I said, okay, I'm going to try to do like a Pride movie per day. And at the end of the month, even if I don't watch one every day, like, I've been doing that. And whenever I miss a day, I double up or watch a couple of like little shorts or something the next day. But at the end of the month, I will have watched something that I'm calling Pride themed.
I'm waiting for you to figure out how you're going to explain all that Pride, Law and Order, but let's continue.
Well, I mean, no cops at Pride, right? We mean that. I'm laughing, but it's dead serious. So yeah, the thing about that is that means that I have been watching some other stuff too, in the meantime, and I have logged 37 movies on Letterboxd this month, and as we record this, there's still like 3 days left to the month, I think, or 4.
Yeah.
3. So yeah, I'll have logged like probably 40 things by the time. So as a result, long story short, I've watched a lot of things. I will say, I'm not going to go through them all, obviously, because that would be a whole episode in itself, and I'm not going to subject anybody to that, especially me, because I just don't want I don't want to run all those down. Willow mentioned the few that we watched last night, but I do say, if you are interested in what I put on the slate this month, I do have them tagged on Letterboxd. So if you go to my profile, it's at Jacobean Tragedy.
You're tagged too. If people, I find almost every week we have listeners following the It Slays Letterboxd, and everybody is tagged. If you're looking for any of us individually, like, you just click on our name and it'll take you to our individual profiles. So
yeah, and so Mike's name. You'll notice because I've got a lot of stuff logged, and you can go on any of them and like click on, it's like Pride 26. So yeah, I'm not going to go through all those, but if you are interested, you can check that out. I think I've reviewed everything that I've watched, even though one of them was so hilariously, like a week ago, Willow said, "Oh my God, I never knew this existed," and sent a Letterboxd link to something that her friend had logged, and it was called The Homosexuals.
Yeah.
And it's a 1 hour long like special Mike Wallace like Dateline. Was it Dateline? I can't remember. I watched it. I should remember
60 minutes.
Oh, 60 Minutes. Yeah. Like one of those specials from like, I think it was 1967.
Yeah, it's 67.
Yeah. Hilariously the same year as The Queen.
As The Queen. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I never even noticed that. So yeah, I watched that.
We've just been in this pre-Stonewall mindset all week.
Yeah, because you need to get a sprinkling of the pre-Stonewall, because that really shows you like that schism that happens and how everything is like just so drastically different. But yeah, it was really funny because it's just sort of like like this is a pressing topic in the world in America right now, and they're trying to be objective about it, but like it's still very clearly slanted towards, we got all these scientists and like professors and fucking cops and priests and shit on to give their opinion on, quote, the homosexual. And it's wild because obviously they're like, this is unnatural. Like, we're going to throw them all in jail. This should be illegal and fucking shit like that. And I was laughing at it because it is ridiculous, but it's also like, I was kind of like laughing with my eyes crazy because I'm like, it's still exactly like this for a lot of people right now. And it's 2026.
Shout out to trans people in 2026.
Exactly.
Seriously, you go back and watch like old gay stuff from like the 1960s and people like just like throwing a fit. Just replace the word gay with trans and it sounds exactly like the rhetoric today.
It's like 2026, news and social media discourse. It's just fucking crazy. But yeah, so I just wanted to like shout out that because I thought it was kind of a funny relic because they had it on YouTube. I was like, what are the odds? I bet you I can find this. And yeah, somebody posted it on YouTube. It's really bad quality, obviously, because it's a TV broadcast from the 60s. But shout out to whoever somehow preserved that and then decided to put it up online. Like, you are doing God's work. And I applaud you. I also watched this awful heterosexual movie that I found. It was one night I couldn't sleep, and so I put on Prime and was like, I'm just going to put on some trash to fall asleep to. And I found this 2013 thriller called Crush. And it's like about this like high school football player who's, you know, like, oh, he's like the football star and he's going to be like, go to university and be like a big football player and blah, blah, blah. And there's this like, you know, supposedly creepy, like unpopular girl who's obsessed with him. And it's just dreadful. And it's like, you know, somebody keeps like attacking people that are close to him. And I guess you're supposed to think that it's her. And spoiler alert, it isn't. It's very obvious from the very beginning because they show this person's hands like, you know, doing whatever, like it's like a giallo, but it turns out to be this other like grown ass woman who's obsessed with him. And yeah, then the like nerdy obsessed girl gets her like, oh, I should get over him moment. And you know, it's just dreadful. It's dreadful. But speaking of dreadful movies, Ro, this one made me think of you, and I can't remember if I texted you about it, but apparently a lot of other people are watching it, but on my Tubi movie night, we actually watched a legit Tubi original that is brand new, and it's called Stepfather.
I've seen it pop up on Tubi. I have not indulged. I'm not going to lie, I don't watch a lot of the Tubi originals, so...
Well, I never do.
Yeah.
Like, I think I might have watched one Tubi original, but my friend and I were just, you know, having our cocktails and trying to figure out what movie to watch, and of course we were scrolling through Tubi, and I saw Taye Diggs, and I saw 2026. I was like, okay, so this is brand new, and then I clicked on the description, and it was the same plot as the classic 80s slasher, The Stepfather, but apparently it is not a remake. It is just a movie with the same title and the same plot. But I guess legally it's called Stepfather and not The Stepfather.
You got to get the legality out of the way. So
yeah, I mean, because I'm pretty sure that I went on the I couldn't find. Yeah, there's actually, so the details on Letterboxd are really weird because it only has 2 cast members listed, which is Taye Diggs, who plays like the titular stepfather, and Tamar Braxton, who plays, you know, like the new person that he marries. And, you know, he's like, you know, it's obviously the stepfather classic thing where he like marries somebody and like, you know, gets the perfect family, and then they do something to upset him and he kills them and moves on. And so she's like the new one. It's one of the lowest rated movies I've logged on Letterboxd. I only gave it 1.5 stars. My friend and I were having a really good time drunkenly tearing it apart.
That's
so
like
that'll tell you
5-star for Tubi original. So,
but yeah, no, totally, yeah. So it's a Mike 1.5 star. But like, if you're into Tubi originals, and I will say, like, there's been a few people. Like, I keep getting notifications every few days of, like, somebody liking my review of it. And I always click on their review to see what they say. And, like, sometimes it's somebody else who's, like, 0.5 star or, like, 2 stars. But, like, sometimes I'll click over on their review and it's, like, 4.5 stars. And I'm like, people are really, like, have thoughts about this movie. Like, it's getting logged a lot.
On the topic of, like, Tubi originals, I just want to say, I sent something in the chat. Have you seen Tubi's Pride merch?
Oh my God.
It's insane.
What?
Like 3 days ago when it dropped, I'd say 5 people text me and DM me over the course of the day about this. And P.S. So it's beautiful and brilliant. It's like little slutty shorts and harnesses and t-shirts that say like, I got my ass ate while watching a Tubi original. There's a jock strap, you know, cute like socks that you'd wear while only in a jockstrap at the club and in like a sling, or like getting your ass ate. And the day that it dropped, it was literally all gone. Like, by the time I figured out how to get to the page for it, it was like all sold out.
Hopefully people enjoyed it, because that's the only time it'll ever happen. Because obviously the big news from like 2 weeks ago is that, it's going to be like merging, I think, with Roku. They're involved.
No. Oh my God.
Because Fox now owns, Fox already owned Tubi, like the Murdochs, but they now own Roku also, and they're doing some sort of things with them, apparently.
Like, can we just file all this shit under things that like do not need to happen? Like, why? To what end? Like, who is this serving other than them? Like, nobody wants this shit to happen. Nobody likes mergers. I'm sorry.
I just want to say, I literally just now on my phone got an alert from Letterboxd about that movie Camp, because apparently they just released an article about it.
Hilarious.
It's kind of hot right now because it's playing a lot of the independent cinemas in New York. So it's kind of it's circulating in a lot of the hotbeds of independent cinema, and it's eventually going to trickle down to everybody. But I hope everybody likes it. It's so good.
Yeah. So I actually haven't watched a lot. I'm looking at my list now, and I'm like, I haven't really been watching a lot other than my Pride picks. I do have a few things logged. Like, we had a movie night at my friend's house with like 4 of us, and we watched Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, because one of my friends had never seen it before, and I was like, this is iconic. Like, this is one of the most iconic 90s comedies. Like, how have you never seen it? Like, I'm always saying to him, like, I'm right on that, Rose, and I guess he just ignored me because he never said, like, what does that mean? I'm like, please. It's Christina Applegate as a teenager. Like, hello. Anyway, yeah, Don't Tell Mom Babysitter's Dead is such a slay. I wish we were a comedy podcast because I'd pick it and slay it, but I cannot imagine being on a comedy podcast because my sense of humor is definitely not right.
That's okay.
Like, at all. I will say, so I'm reading a book. I'm listening to the audiobook right now. And I don't know if Jill would find this interesting because it's really like not the sort of thing that she reads, but I also feel like maybe you know the author, but it's Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid.
Oh, I know the author. I don't know the book.
Yeah, so it's her new book that came out like probably 6 months ago.
Okay.
Or 8 or 9 months ago. But yeah, it's like lesbian astronauts.
Hell yeah.
In the 80s. So I was like, yeah, this is like, I've only read.
Do they have space dried grapes, or?
So you mean space frozen grapes?
Space frozen grapes, yeah.
I love that my contribution to lesbian discourse is that lesbians love frozen grapes. I'm like,
love a good frozen
like,
grape.
Why is this my legacy? Like, please. Yeah, and I saw Backrooms and thought it was fine. You know, we've sort of already gone over this, so I'm not going to reheat those nachos because they're greasy and disgusting. Rowan?
Me.
What's going on?
I'll bang through this stuff. I watched a lot of stuff I'd never seen before, but as always, I'll go through stuff I'm not going to talk about because it's like either horror adjacent or, you know, like something. Checked out Blue Ruin for the first time. Also watched The Brood for the first time.
Oh my god.
Nightbreed, Crime Wave, like Sam Raimi's Crime Wave.
Some of these titles that you're just blowing through and not like.
I mean, as I always say, I don't like to really say much about it in case we do an episode on something, and I can't give you all the tea there.
No, you're right.
All right, let me just go through the list quick. I got to check out Patton Oswalt's new stand-up, Tea and Scotch. Pretty good. I'm a pretty big Patton Oswalt guy. I think he's pretty funny. Lots of good stuff in this for the horror heads, like, because his kid is like a teenager now or getting into that age, and there's lots of stuff he's talking about, like showing his kid Halloween for the first time and all these other movies and kind of conversations we have on the podcast, right? About how people are just kind of desensitized now. So movies that scared the shit out of you when you were a kid, like kids nowadays just don't really give a shit. They're like, this sucks. And, you know, it was funny. It was a good stand-up. Checked out 48 Hours because I'd never seen it. And it was on my list. Obviously, the first kind of Eddie Murphy starring movie. Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was kind of like middle of the road. Eddie Murphy obviously like shines in this, and you just knew, like, you know, if I had been alive when this came out and saw this in the theater, you're like, oh yeah, this guy is like a rock star. This guy is gonna control the next 10 years of movies, and Nick Nolte's fine, and it's just like kind of like a cop a buddy cop movie, and it had some good parts, had some bad parts. Then checked out High School High again. I have seen High School High before. These are all work watches, so we're just kind of like, what's the theme tonight? And I was on a thing where I was like, man, I want to see some movies with John Lovitz in it, where he's like kind of the main person. High School High is like a staple of my childhood.
John Lovitz with an afro on the front.
Yeah. My friend had never seen this, but he is a huge fan of like The Naked Gun, Top Secret, like all these kind of spoof movies. So I was like, oh, High School High is going to be right up your alley. I will say, not as good as I remember. Like, I used to watch this all the time and rent it. Not as funny as I remember it, but I mean, there's still like some very memorable parts that, crack me up every time. But obviously a spoof on kind of these like teacher and hood school movies. So like Dangerous Minds, The Substitute, like all this kind of stuff that was coming out around that time frame. And then we followed that with Trapped in Paradise, which is a film starring John Lovitz, Nicolas Cage, and Dana Carvey. And it is a Christmas caper movie about kind of like three criminal brothers that are just always getting in the mishaps. Dana Carvey is doing a wild impression of I have no idea what, some weird like southern accent. It's just like, it's really wild. Nicolas Cage is Nicolas Cage, so he's always charming. Matching Amick is like the love interest in this.
Oh.
So, I mean, she's always fantastic. Overall, this movie, not very good. John Lovitz, even though he's like one of the stars, is like barely in it and kind of plays his normal SNL, like annoying guy, just like always lying and annoying, kind of pathological liar character. But it wasn't great. And then we watched another one I'd never seen was Leaving Las Vegas. Me and my friend are both huge Nicolas Cage guys, so we slowly pounding through all the Nicolas Cage. And this was like a 5-star for me. I'd never seen this.
I'm a huge Elizabeth Shue guy.
Yeah, there you go. And she's fantastic in this. And this is one that, like, I know is very highly regarded anyway. And, of course, this is, like, if you follow Nicolas Cage at all, like, he always talks about filming this movie and how, like, he basically became a drunk to, like, rehearse this role. And I think was very kind of problematic during the filming because he was like, I'm going to get hammered and film this movie, so it's real.
Oh, the trauma of a method actor.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's so fantastic. Like, it's such a dark comedy. Like, there's some really funny things in it, but even the funny things are still really horrific when you think about it. And Elizabeth Shue, like, playing a sex worker, there's like some really horrific stuff of, just stuff she's going through. And it's great. Anyone that hasn't seen it, I highly suggest it. Saw The Deer Hunter for the first time. Another one knocked off my list. I thought this movie sucked. I'm not going to lie. Even my friend also thought this was terrible. We were like, first of all, I don't want to watch an hour and a half at a wedding. It's just like one wedding scene for like an hour and a half. I don't think it builds any character development whatsoever. I know pretty much the same after the wedding that I did before the wedding. The Vietnam stuff was fine. I mean, it's just, I thought there was like, if this movie had been cut by an hour, I would have been all right with it. But this is like a 3-hour movie and it just wasn't great. Christopher Walken, I thought, was fantastic in it. Just really loves Russian roulette. Real addiction. I didn't know there was that kind of addiction in it. A love for the game of Russian roulette. I just think the Vietnam movies that came afterwards may have improved on this format a bit. I just think another issue was it was just really overhyped. Everyone hypes this movie, and I just didn't think it was very good, which probably would also be why this director really didn't do like a whole lot.
That's a complicated story, actually.
We were just talking about this a few days ago.
Mike and I were just talking about that the other day. I'm not going to get into it here, but I just want to say that the wedding sequence in The Deer Hunter is one of my favorite things ever filmed in the history of movies.
I'm sorry.
So I'm just sitting here like just not talking shit, I guess, but like I love the wedding stuff in The Deer Hunter. It's when they go to Vietnam that I get bored. So like I guess the gender binary is real.
I mean, I think my issue was that I knew it was a Vietnam movie, so that's what I was expecting, and I wasn't expecting an hour plus of this wedding scene. And it's just 3 hours is just way too long for this movie. I don't think it's a good enough movie to take 3 hours of my time.
Now, I don't think that The Deer Hunter is perfect, but I do think that it's I do think that the Vietnam stuff could be shorter. Like, for me, if the wedding could be longer, because I think it's the wedding that actually gives everything its character and purpose. Because, like, you know, these Americans are going over there, like, what are they actually, like, trying to, what do they stand for? What they stand for is, like, you know, the right to, like, have a big celebratory wedding with their family and with the people that they love. That's the point of it.
Well, you know, thanks to all the military people, I stand for giving it a 2.5 stars.
Okay.
That's all it's going to get from me.
That's fun.
I'll tell you what was a 5 star is a rewatch of He Got Game. Just a fantastic movie.
I love that movie too.
Probably my number 2 all-time favorite Spike Lee movie. I grew up with this movie. I've talked about this movie before. It's Ray Allen. I got a special place in my heart. Those 08 Celtics. I love me some Ray Allen in this. Just fantastic film. Also got to check out Raising Arizona for the first time. I never saw that. Loved it. I didn't really know anything about it other than it was a Nick Cage movie. And this was like way more gonzo or anything than I expected. Like, I just didn't know what I was going into, and I was like, this movie is actually pretty fucking wild and like trippy and hilarious and colorful, and like I was getting hints of like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and just like it was a wild time. And it's like one of those movies, the opposite of Deer Hunter, where I was like going in expecting one thing and I got something way better with this. And I just really, really enjoyed this. Did a rewatch of Rebel Ridge. Watched that actually, I think right after we watched Blue Ruin. I've talked about Rebel Ridge when it came out. I think it's one of Netflix's better kind of originals they put out. It's like a fantastic movie. Don Johnson's just a fantastic villain. Also, rewatch Magnolia because my buddy had never seen Magnolia. This is like a 5 star for me. This was the first PTA movie I ever saw. Banger soundtrack.
Yeah.
I remember like me and X bought this on DVD when it came out and watched this all the time.
Did you also have that one in the double disc in the cardboard sleeve?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely love it. Like, what else can you say? And my boy Cruz is in it. So, you know, it's a banger for me. America's Greatest Actor.
Oh my God.
And then the last couple, I rewatched A Few Good Men. Another one he hadn't seen before. What are we talking about? 5 stars for me for A Few Good Men, as always. Like, so many famous actors just killing it, even in like small roles. It's one of my favorite like courtroom drama movies.
You really love Tom Cruise right now.
I love Tom Cruise, but I mean, come on, like Nicholson, Sutherland in this one, Demi Moore, yeah, like she's fantastic in this. And there's also so many like little just like character guys from like the 90s and the 80s in this that you're like, oh, that guy that's in like 800 movies is, you know, a lawyer. Kevin Bacon obviously is the prosecutor. Just a fantastic movie. The last movie I'll talk about, as I talked about last one, I had the TerrorVision. We, you know, as always, sponsored the event and went and saw Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors in the theater. It was the 4K, like, Atmos Dolby restoration. And it was great. It was fantastic. I mean, I've talked about many times, even when we reviewed it. I'm one of the few, like, Dream Warriors is not up there in my favorite Nightmare on Elm Streets, but...
Because you're crazy, but that's fine.
I mean, I've already said, me, it's like... 2, 4, 1, and then 3 is probably like maybe 4th or 5th for me. I have a really soft spot for Freddy's Dead. I've always talked about that because it was the first one I ever saw, and I just nostalgia. But this is fantastic. The 4K looks fantastic in the theater. It's awesome because it's always hit and miss when you watch these in the theater, like older films. Whether or not they redo the sound for like the surround sound stuff, sometimes like the sound can be a little shitty, but this is like full out using all the speakers. Like I said, I think it was like a Dolby Atmos track with it. So it was a good time. People won some prizes. We gave away like mugs and like Freddie mugs, and I can't even remember what else. A bunch of Freddie Pop Funkos and, some It Slays stuff. So everyone did that. And then really that's about it. All we've been doing at my house, I hate soccer, but the kid has been really into the World Cup. So it's a lot of World Cup watching. So I guess getting patriotic with that or something. Although she doesn't cheer for Canada. She's a Portugal person.
Interesting.
She likes whoever the star player is, that Cristiano Ronaldo. She told me he has an amazing jawline. And
oh my God.
I was going to say, she's just going for the team with the hottest players.
Yeah, she said he had all the riz. So
you got to watch out with that one.
But we have been watching that.
She's already boy crazy.
There's a guy that is on Team Canada that's actually from the town that me and Auxilia are from, and like he scored a goal and everything, and so it's been like a big deal where I live for this.
But is he hot, and does he have a good jawline?
I apparently not good enough for her to like the team.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
yeah, that's all.
She said fuck his jawline.
That's all that's been going on over here. So let's get into it. The movie for this evening is 1983's The Hunger. And why we chose it, I guess I have to ask myself, because I'm the one that chose this. So I said, Colton hit us with that amazing pride pick of Jurassic Park 3. So I said, we'll have to bring it to a more traditional pride pick, bring it back.
Or one at all, but anyway.
And this one, this has kind of been, we were talking before we started recording, like, this is one that I had kind of circled for years now. I own the VHS, never actually put the VHS in because I was just like, oh, this is something we definitely are going to do on the podcast at some point. It's kind of got all the qualities of something we'd be interested in. So it just kind of makes sense. This was the right time to watch it, so why not? That's why I picked it. So let's get into the trailer for The Hunger, and then we'll be back with the synopsis and first experiences.
There is a choice between mortality and everlasting life, between ordinary emotion and unearthly passion, between the everyday and the unimaginable. But there is a price. It is called The Hunger. Catherine Deneuve, David Bowie, Susan Sarandon. The Hunger.
Coming soon to a Famous Players theater near you. Check your local listings.
1983's The Hunger is directed by Tony Scott and written by Michael Thomas, James Costigan, and originally written by Whitley Strieber, and the synopsis is as follows. 5,000-year-old vampire Miriam promises her lovers the gift of eternal life. When John, her cellist companion for centuries, discovers that he has suddenly begun growing old, he attempts to seek out the help of Dr. Sarah Roberts, a researcher on the mechanisms of aging. So, first experiences, is this our first time seeing this? Or do we just love David Bowie so much that we watch anything with David Bowie in it? Or, for the real heads, the real Tony Scott heads, you just had to watch this. I'm going to go first. I always pick someone. I'm just going to go first. It was my pick, and I kind of already said I had it on VHS, and I hadn't watched it yet. Yeah, so I've never seen this. I've been holding off on this forever to watch, so never seen it in my life, and I'll tell you a funny story once we start talking about the movie, about my going on with Tony Scott. Mike, what about you? Is this your first time seeing The Hunger?
Oh, speaking of funny stories, no, it isn't. But I will tell you the first time I saw it was I might even call it a catastrophic moment in my life. So picture it, Sicily, and I know. So the night before I had my first day of university, I've always had anxiety, like as a kid and stuff, but when you get into your teens and stuff, like that sort of stuff, especially if you don't get it treated, and nobody talked about that shit, so it was just running rampant in me. But I was also just very anxious anyway about, starting university and, just like, I was like, what are these feelings? Like I didn't understand like what anxiety was. So the night before my first day of university, I decided for the first time to watch The Hunger. And I watched it and then went into the bathroom and spent 6 hours on the floor. Not knowing what was happening to me, thinking that I was dying, and it turns out it was just a panic attack.
Oh no.
So baby's first panic attack was right after watching The Hunger for the first time. So as much as I loved it, there was years when I like wanted to watch it again, but I couldn't because it just reminded me of like being terrified and not in a fun movie way, thinking that I was dying.
Sorry.
So yeah. But you know what? Like I watched it years after that and it was fine. And I love it obviously because it's The Hunger and it's sexy and yeah. So, Jill, what about you?
Yeah. So this one I have not seen before. This is my first time. It's been on my list for a while. I'm not sure if Mike I don't know if you were the first one to recommend it to me, probably, honestly. But it's also on every single like vampire movie list, all the Pride movie lists, and all the like girly pop horror movie lists. So it's like all of my favorite things combined into one. So yeah, I finally popped it on yesterday for the first time. Very happy to finally check it off of my watch list. So thanks, Rowan. But mostly, thank you, Mike, because this is a Mike pick, even though it's
Rowan's like, fuck you. Give me my credit.
I don't like that I'm losing the credit for a pick that I wanted to pick anyway.
Yeah, well, get over it. Anyways, Willow, I'm sure this is not the first time you've seen this.
It's not. I started the podcast by saying that I was a huge David Bowie fangirl, and that has kind of been true my entire life because I grew up loving Labyrinth. I'm pretty sure that Labyrinth was the first thing that I saw David Bowie.
Yeah.
David Bowie. I love Labyrinth.
Sexual awakening for many.
Yeah, I mean, me too. It's an incredible movie. I adore Labyrinth. It set my imagination on fire, and so did David Bowie. But he's not in a ton of movies, honestly. He's not in a ton of movies for kids, at least, I'll say. So when I was a teenager, I started watching more of the movies that David Bowie was in, and I think that this was the third one that I saw, because I'm pretty sure that I saw The Prestige, the Christopher Nolan movie, when it came out, and that would have been like 2004, 2005. And I'm pretty sure that I saw The Hunger around the same time. And I quickly became obsessed with The Hunger and the type of subgenre that it belongs to, which is the gay vampire movie. There's hundreds of movies like this, and yet this one feels unique, I think, and we'll get into that when we discuss it more broadly. But yeah, not the first time for me. It's been a favorite of mine for a while. Yeah, it's great.
Well, with that, why don't we hit the stairs and check out the attic, see what's going on upstairs there. And I know there's definitely not boxes of men that Mike's left up there.
100%.
100% they're up there.
His prey.
And what about the doves? You're forgetting the doves.
Oh, of course, you got to have your doves.
You can't forget the doves.
But yeah, so let's talk about The Hunger. And I just want to get this out of the way. The Tony Scott thing was, Tony Scott's been in my life forever. I love Tony Scott. No part of my brain ever connected until I was reading about this movie that him and Ridley Scott were related.
Same
last name.
I was wondering that, actually.
Yeah.
How are they related?
They're brothers.
They're brothers.
No way.
And they have the production company scot-free.
It's just insane that like two Scotts that are like very important in my like movie watching life since I was a child.
And they both have similar styles of being very like stylish and stuff.
Just no connection whatsoever.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
I figure Scott is like a common name, so I guess I just never put it together.
God. It's so funny because for my whole life, I always, and this is whatever, you might want to murder me, but because I always knew that they were brothers, I always mix their movies up. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh, when Tony Scott directed Alien, and then like, like, wait, hang on.
Tony Scott's
Or,
Alien.
you know, Ridley Scott's, you know, Man on Fire or whatever. Like,
I'm all for Tony Scott's Alien, but in his editing, when he was in his like 2000s Man on Fire deja vu editing, where everything was just like super quick cuts and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm ready to see that. I'm ready to see that.
They both do cunty very well, so
They
hats
do,
off to
yeah.
them.
I was just going to say, I mean, to me, to talk about this film, I just feel like the beginning is an appropriate place to start.
Such a good start to a movie. It's probably the greatest music video of all time, I think.
Fantastic.
So, if for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, the film begins with the gothic post-punk band Bauhaus playing their classic song Bela Lugosi's Dead. And then
one of the great goth bangers of all time.
Yeah.
Yes, it should be on every Halloween playlist. It's one of the greatest songs of the 80s. It's a graveyard smash, you know? Yeah. And so they're playing this song, and interspersed with that is that kind of quick cutting style that Rowan was mentioning him having in the 2000s, but we see it here in his first feature-length movie. And the cutting takes us between Bauhaus's performance of this song and David Bowie and Catherine Deneuve in a punk goth club hunting their first prey. And there's this wonderful sexual tension through the entire thing, and this sensation of violence, and it's sexy. And oh my god, it's just it's perfect. It's such a good way to start a movie. It's so hot. And I love too in the song whenever they get to the point when the singer in Bauhaus is saying undead, 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 and we're getting these interjecting cuts of Bowie and Catherine Deneuve driving their prey in Magic Hour, like at the very end of Magic Hour when the sky is completely orange. Yeah. And they're driving their prey back to their garish, opulent mansion where they live. And it's like, oh my god, it's a movie that like grabs you by your throat like immediately.
Yeah, I love one of my favorite parts about that scene, and I just think it's such a brilliant opening, is that, like, first of all, the just cast of people they have in that club is, like, brilliant, just, like, hands down, like, I love it. They're all delicious, but, you know, I just love the juxtaposition between the two of them. You know, they're all dressed in black and stuff, but it's all very chic and fashionable and expensive, even though David Bowie is wearing a bad wig, a black wig.
Add it to the list.
But, you know, like Catherine Deneuve's got, you know, her like glasses and the hat and like blah. And then everybody else in the club is just, like you said, in kind of like this punk goth wear, and I just like love the juxtaposition. Like they clearly are way too sort of like classy to be there, but there they are.
They're European.
Yeah. It's just, I just love that. That's one of my favorite parts of that is just the juxtaposition between them and the people that actually belong in the club.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments in it, there's like this crash zoom where the camera like comes to Deneuve and Bowie, like, and they're just like posing like beautiful statuesque models in the midst of all this chaos, and it's like, yeah, they're serving right now. Like, that's all the shot is saying, and they're so seductive in that moment. I think they're so fashionable. They're so easy to, like, gravitate to.
If they had looked at me and said, could you please come home so that we can slit your throat and drink your blood? Like, no lie, I would probably be like, fuck yeah, sure. Murder me.
Say less. Willingly.
I was already there. You didn't need to like convince me.
Well, and it's just, it looks so good. It's so stylish. Like, it looks like a music video, which, I mean, really, I mean, it kind of is, right? Like you said, we're getting the Bela Lugosi's Dead song, and you know,
which would have been new at the time. Like that was now, you know, you see it in a lot of horror movies, but like that was like cutting edge.
Well, and I know like Tony Scott had said, like, it was just like he heard them in a club he was in, and he was like, I want these guys at the beginning of the movie. And you know, as we talk about this film, I know that I'm sure we're gonna get in the big talk about the big critic thing of this film is like a style over substance film. But what Tony Scott didn't expect is that Rowan on the It Slays podcast would talk about it, and I live for style over substance film. And I like this whole intro. By the time the intro's done, I'm just like, I don't even really care what this movie's about. You know, if you could just look this good, I'm 100% fine with it in terms of visuals, fashion, all that. I just thought even this, and as the movie goes out, it's just real. It was really fast. The most fascinating part about it to me, which I thought was going to be kind of seeing Bowie's performance. I'm also like a Bowie fan, but it was just seeing like all these little visual things where you're like, oh yeah, like I can see how these carried on in like Tony Scott's filmmaking, which is like kind of interesting because, you know, as we went about like with like Top Gun and Crimson Tide, like these kind of like ultra male, like, you know, military action film stuff. But I was like, you can see all these like little bits of this like MTV-ish look that he just kept in. Like, why? To me, he's just really, you know, is considered like kind of this like great director, or was a great director, R.I.P. But I thought it was really interesting to see his style kind of be born in from that.
Yeah, the seeds. Funny side note about the R.I.P. I just have to throw in there. It's funny that we ended up doing this because, like, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, we had talked about The Hunger, and me and Ro had been talking about it, you know, because about how we wanted to do it. And then I was texting Willow, and I went, yeah, gee, I wish Tony Scott would go back to making horror movies again. And she's like, well, that's going to be hard because he's dead. I was like, oh yeah, I completely forgot.
That would be a real horror movie if he just comes back and directs one.
I mean, with the state of a lot of movies coming out these days, I'll take zombies Tony Scott over most.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he would want to stay dead, though. Like,
oh yeah,
with the concept of this movie.
My question is, does it look good because of Tony Scott, or does it look good because of the GOAT, Stephen Goldblatt, the cinematographer?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
The answer is both.
Batman and Robin, Batman Forever.
Batman Forever, one of the best Batman movies.
Honestly, this movie, you can see, like, the way that this movie informs the look of those Batman movies that Joel Schumacher made. Because, like, the billowing curtains, the elaborate costuming, the fog, the opulence, the garishness, the tackiness, all of that is clear in this film as well. And I love that you can connect the two.
Also did the cinematography for a very Rowan lore movie. This was a Rowan and Exilia lore movie, Closer, which I've seen so many times. So I can see it. I can see where that came from. All those great scenes of Natalie Portman as a stripper in the strip club dancing.
With her pink wig on.
With the pink wig, yeah. Stephen Goldblatt, I didn't know that you informed me so much about it. But, you know, we're talking about the great Bauhaus song, but I thought the score overall in this was, like, really strong.
Yeah.
And in an interesting way that I find sometimes doesn't work in a lot of movies, where Exilia wasn't watching this with me, but she was in the room, and I thought it was interesting because, like, kind of that, you know, I think everyone that watches knows what I'm talking about. Like, there's a pitch in this where it's like almost hurts your ears, where kind of the horror or something coming in the score. And I remember her being like, that is the most horrid sound I've ever heard. And I'm like, yeah. But like, it works. Like, it's really doing its job of, like, though, that's when you're like, oh my God, and like, what's happening on the screen? And it's just like this ingenious spot where, like, there's a lot of movies that try to do that, where it's, you know, it's kind of the Dumb and Dumber thing, like, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world, and then it doesn't actually work.
I think the movie House does that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And I think what's really cool about that here is it usually coincides with a moment of violence or in a moment when, like, the cutting speeds up. So, like, everything, like, rises all at the same time, like, every single aspect of the visual language, it all coalesces into this kind of frenzied experience. And I think that this is I mean, you mentioned it was a style over substance movie, but this is a movie where the style is the substance, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it's such an overwhelming film to look at that it does help you forget some of like the more troublesome aspects of it that come up later at the scripting level. We'll get into that later, but like even the actors are like, this was a bad script. But like, yeah, I think that the style is so powerful in this that it's very, very easy to just get absorbed and sucked into it. Like, what did you think of that opening scene, Jill, at the club?
I think that goes along with the overall theme of Jillbait here. This movie, like from the very beginning, like you all talked about, it just grabbed my attention from the very beginning. It was everything that I like. It was luscious. It was sexy. It was goth. It was dark. And that kind of carried throughout the whole rest of the movie, which I liked. But what I really think, and this also goes into the Egyptian elements of it, is that this movie walked so Queen of the Damned could run. And with the soundtrack, you know, like the big hits that would have been popular during the time, and that Egyptian like kind of folklore, and like even like the nightclub scenes, honestly, like it makes me wonder how much Anne Rice was influenced by watching this movie before she wrote Queen of the Damned. But yeah, I really love that opening scene.
Oh, she definitely would have loved it. Yeah.
I was going to say, I tried to do, you know, as much as I usually do, right? I try to read as much as I can into articles I find or whatever. And I mean, it seems that a lot of people talk about that this is like style-wise, like a one of the more influential vampire films for like the stuff to come, which, you know, we've done a couple older vampire movies and, you know, in different ranges, and it definitely makes sense. And I will say, I did have a note to kind of cap off that opening scene that I did wonder. I was like, this for me might be the best horror movie opening scene of the 80s for me.
Maybe.
I think it's like that strong. With this, you know, we said this is kind of, we had to bring back the Pride Pick, and with Pride Picks, usually we have to talk about a little bit of like serious subjects, get people's mind thinking, which I think we should do with this. I do want to get a little bit serious, and just, I need to know how you guys feel about your bed being in the middle of the room. I'm not sure how I feel about your,
it's like
your bed in the middle of the room. I did have a note, fantastic bed. Love the sheer curtains.
Yes.
Very luxurious. It looks like high thread counts going on here, only the finest. But I just don't know how I feel about your bed placement in the middle of the room.
I have for my entire life, and I'm not saying it's because of this movie, but I'm also not saying that it's not related to this movie. I have always wanted a room big enough that I could put the fucking bed in the middle of it. Just to try it.
Yeah.
Just to try it.
And mirrors.
And I need
all
a bed
on the
big
walls.
enough that like it's not gonna, you know, I need to be able to like prop my pillows up and not have them fall off the bed. So I'm very interested in the concept of a bed big enough to do that, and also a room big enough to have the bed not pushed up against the wall.
I just feel like your pillows are going to fall off. Like, you know, that would concern me. My bed's up against the wall, the headboard's up against the wall, and like my pillows are already falling, you know, sideways, whatever ways. Like, I can't have this 360 area where blankets and pillows are free to fall anywhere on the floor. And it was quite concerning to me in this movie.
Just get a good headboard, you'll be fine.
Like I said, I wanted to make sure we got the important stuff out of the way.
Okay, now we can talk.
Now we can talk all the fluff of this movie, right? Yeah, I mean, my next note, I just simply wrote, is this possibly the flyest fucking blood analyst on the face of the planet? Rufus Collins is the actor.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed. I want his glasses. I want everything that he's wearing.
Who I was like, style impeccable. And I was like, I have to look at who is this guy? Like, who is this guy? And I looked, and I thought it was interesting to know, only black actor in Rocky Horror Picture Show. He plays one of the Transylvanians dancing. He's also in Shock Treatment. He plays I think he plays like a nurse or something in Shock Treatment as well. But yeah, shout out to Rufus Collins. Just fly as fuck in this. I thought maybe more stylish than anybody in the film.
I think across the board, everyone in this movie is so fashionable, and they're dressed so well. It must be said, too, that the costume designer on this film, Mike is celebrating right now.
That was literally my next comment, yeah.
The costume designer worked with Stanley Kubrick. I don't know, you have the list, don't you, Mike?
Oh, I do. It's right here. It's Milena Canonero. She has won 4 Academy Awards and been nominated for 9 more. Yeah, she's done... I mean, I was texting Willow about this yesterday. Like, she's done Barry Lyndon, A Clockwork Orange, multiple Anderson movies like French Dispatch, Darjeeling Limited, Life Aquatic, Grand Budapest, one of my favorites of all time, Marie Antoinette, Dick Tracy, Single White Female, Titus, which is a very underrated Shakespeare adaptation, and also one of my favorite fashion movies of all time, and I know Willow's, The Shining. Like, she did the costumes.
Everything Shelley Duvall wears in that movie is just perfect for her character. Like, she understood using fashion as a character detail so well. I think that in the case of, like, Catherine Deneuve and Bowie's characters in particular, they are so opulent and beautiful, and they have almost like a royal quality, like they should be royalty or something. And they've been around for hundreds of years, and they feel caught out of time in a way, I think, that makes them feel very vampiric. Like they don't necessarily fit into the 80s, while also feeling very 80s to me in the way that they move about the world, I guess, in the way that this movie just feels very 80s. It's a wonderful contradiction, I think. I think this movie has so much style, and it's a credit to her. Like, she's fantastic, the costume designer.
Oh, 100%. And I think it's like the way it's 80s in that it's super stylish. They're out of time because it's very sort of chic and rich and like classy and timeless, whereas a lot of the style of the 80s, when you had money, like it's like it was all people with new money, so it's expensive but like not in a classy, chic, timeless way. It's I just got money and I want whatever is like the most sort of like in fashion right now. Whereas theirs is like, yes, we fit in because we have like beautiful designer fashions, but like there's just something about it that's like, we have style that is informed by hundreds of years, whereas you all have style that is of the now and it's new money. And, you know, it's just, I love that. I love how like you can just tell it just by looking at them.
Yeah, and it's so suggestive too, because that element like vanishes almost immediately for Bowie's character in particular, because he starts getting symptomatic of him aging in real time. And this is a pride pick. Let's actually talk about something serious.
Yeah.
This movie is frequently spoken about as an AIDS metaphor. And this film came out a little bit before AIDS was something that like everyone in the general public was aware about, but the queer community was already very much aware of what AIDS was at this point in time. And I think that the way that Bowie's character is like very sexually forward and then suddenly, inexplicably cut down in time is very, very potent for what the 80s would foretell for queer people in general. And I think that if the film does have a kind of substance beyond the style, it's there. And it's watching the tragedy of him fall apart, which is also so weird for a vampire movie because we never actually see that happen, really. Vampires usually get staked or they get burned. We never see them die slowly. And I think that that's really upsetting here when you look at it through a queer lens.
Yeah, for 100%. And it really does tie back into the opening scene, because you see them cruising, right? Like they're cruising in a club, and that's the kind of like activity that you would have sort of like seen associated with like dangerous sexual activity that could, you know, get you sick. And when he does get sick and visit Sarah's office, there is an absolutely like just stunning sequence that I know everybody loves of when he's waiting for her in the lobby, and there's just several beautiful shots of him sitting on the chair, and she tells him like not to smoke a cigarette, but he keeps it in that beautiful cut glass ashtray on the arm of the chair, and it just keeps cutting back to him looking a little bit older and like more decayed, but you still see the cigarette still burning down. And I'm just like, oh, it gave me like fucking chills. I forgot how like beautiful every detail was.
Yeah, and it speaks to the way that AIDS was ignored.
Yeah.
Throughout the 80s. Like, the Reagan administration did not acknowledge that this was happening. And so you had this plague that was sweeping through the queer community, and The Hunger kind of foreshadows it a little bit. It wasn't necessarily about that specifically, it's accidentally about AIDS.
Yeah.
And so you have all of these moments where it is accidentally very provocative when you look at it through that lens. And I think that even if we go back to the opening scene of them cruising, like you talked about, we see a lot of moments where, like, the moment climaxes with blood splatter. And blood was one of the primary ways that AIDS was spread, through incidental sexual contact that involved blood. And I think that in that way, you get this link between what the Bowie character is experiencing and what actual, like, mostly gay men experienced in the 1980s. And I think that it becomes even more tragic when you think about it through Miriam's own experience of it, and how she has, in the attic part of her house, she just has coffins of her dead lovers surrounded by her. And that's also a very potent image if you think about it in the context of AIDS and how a lot of gay people just lost everyone that they knew in the decade.
Yeah, it reminded me of, oh my God, it was back in the Twitter days, but there was this thread that a writer made who was like coming of age in like the late 80s, early 90s. And he had overheard some youngsters talking on the bus, and it like prompted him to like write this thread. And actually, like, I was reading it on the bus hilariously, and it made me like fucking sob. But it was this long, like maybe 60 or 70 post thread talking about, you know, being alive during those years and, like, you know, watching literally your whole community just disappear. And he talked about how, you know, he went down to the corner store and just bought a little cheap spiral notebook and just would write down the name of everybody who passed, and it was just like constant lists of names. And it's sort of like that sort of reminded me of that. It's this like record, this monument in the way that you can, a private monument of, you know, like, I'm going to hold on to these people that are passing away suddenly, that are just like decaying and disappearing while you're still there, right?
Yeah, and the other thing too that I think speaks to it as an AIDS metaphor is that even though Bowie's character is dying, even though he realizes he's approaching the end of his life, his mortality, he still feels the need to feed and hunt out other people and still cruise. Yeah. Which I think speaks to the danger in sexuality that queer people came to realize in the 80s, and how even with the risk, it was still something that queer people had to seek out, because, you know, your life just can't stop. It honestly reminds me of a scene in there's this movie about AIDS from the 1980s that was one of the first movies about AIDS. It was made in 1985, called Buddies, and
Arthur Bresson.
It was about Arthur Bresson, exactly. Yeah. And one scene in that film has a young gay man volunteer to work in an AIDS section of a hospital. And one of the kindest gestures in the entire film is that this young man gets to know this man. And then one day he asks, the man who has AIDS, asks him if this young man will give him a hand job. And it's really sad, and it's really touching, but I think it's almost synonymous with, like, what we're seeing communicated here with The Hunger, with Bowie's character down the stretch, when he is looking to cruise still, even when the writing is on the wall. How he cannot let go of his identity as a vampire. And I think that it's really, really, really heartfelt and tough to watch and moving, I think. But, you know, and that's the hard part of the movie, but, like, this movie is also just, like, a celebration of queer sex too, which we can get into with Susan Sarandon's character being introduced into the movie as Catherine Deneuve, Miriam's character, the new person that she wants to bring into her life after Bowie's character begins to get sick and starts to decay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, hey, Susan Sarandon, just fantastic. And I do know she said that she got herself a little Bowie penis while she was making this film. She said they had an affair during this.
So lucky, God.
Yeah, you go, Susan Sarandon.
She's always doing the coolest things.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say, just a little bit what you guys were, I guess, off of what you guys were talking about. I just thought it was very interesting because even now, like, it's just so rare in a vampire movie in general of like the vampirism not being necessarily romanticized. And I thought that was an interesting line this kind of film played, where as stylish and as like cool and like we talked about, like these guys posing and all the incredible sunglasses they wear and everything and like they're sexy. It also has this line of like there's no part in it that you're like, oh yeah, I kind of wish I was part of this vampire crew, because they like, I thought they did this good job of kind of treating immortality as a curse, where in most vampire movies, it's like, oh, everybody wants to be immortal. So it's like this alluring thing where it's just like, no, there's like, this is like the issues with immortality. And I thought too, like Miriam, I thought Miriam was just such a great antagonist. Like, I thought she was just such a great villain of this, of, just her using like love as consumption and, like I said, like very astute more than me with like, the Attic and AIDS metaphor. But I guess when I came into it looking at just at like a vampire film, I'm like, oh yeah, Miriam, like kind of a piece of shit, right? Like she knows this is going to happen. She doesn't tell anybody this is what's going to happen. I can give you hundreds of years added to your life, but at the end of the day, this is going to happen to you where you're in a coffin, still conscious, rotting away. But
right, she tells Bowie forever and ever. We get like a brief flashback.
Which you're assuming she's told everybody this, and when she knows it's coming, she's just like, well, it's time to hunt for the new one. Who am I going to like replace this with? And even though I'm feeling the sorrow, it's like, well, I'll replace them with someone else. And I was just like, what a great like concept to use for this, like, this kind of villain of the movie, which not many movies can make the other villains seem like protagonists, where like I really felt Bowie's character as like a protagonist in this, and I thought that was really interesting.
I wanted to ask you, Jill, Rowan brought up the whole immortality as a curse thing, and I know that you're a big fan of Interview with the Vampire. And I was wondering if you thought about that movie at all while you were watching this, because immortality is treated as a curse in Interview with the Vampire, particularly with Kirsten Dunst's character. And I was wondering if you were thinking about like those other kinds of vampire movies while you were watching this one.
I was, especially since you mentioned that one. You have the child vampire. And then here you have, what's the name of the girl who's taking the music lessons?
Alice.
You have her. And I think she's like being groomed basically to like someday be the next kind of consort for Miriam, which is really sick when you think about it, like in grooming terms, but also like for vampirism. That especially reminded me of Interview with the Vampire. But most vampire like literature, movies, all of that, yeah, they say that vampirism is a curse, but it's still romanticized in a way because they make it so sexy. They make it so alluring that you can live forever and, you could have a romantic relationship with a vampire forever, etc. Even though they try to not romanticize like immortality in those movies, I still feel like it's a very potent trap. Like it's still alluring at the end of the day, even if you know better. For this one though, it's very different because yeah, it sucks. Like, you're going to decay in the most like disgusting, horrible way for the rest of your life. Like, you're just going to be a husk essentially for eternity. And I think that's what's actually horrifying. I think more than anything, that is truly terrifying, more so than, wandering the ends of the earth for the rest of your life, but in a young, beautiful body perpetually. Here, it's very much different. So I think it's similar to a lot of like vampire movies and literature, but that distinctive portion of it is so different, and it's largely, I think, what separates it from all the other vampire movies out there.
Yeah, it's so abject what happens to her lovers. She says when she puts John, Bowie's character, away after he has decayed to the point where he can't walk around, she puts him in the casket and she places him with the other lovers that she has had over hundreds of years, and she says, "There is no release, my darling. Now rest in the rotting wood, in the eternal darkness. You will see and hear and feel." And to me, that's so terrifying, because you do live for eternity in this movie, but it's twisted to the point where you're going to spend an even larger portion of your life basically as a corpse with awareness, versus the 150 or so years that you had as a perfect young nubile sexual vampire with this beautiful vampire that you've grown to love. And it's really if you really like pull it apart, it's like really abusive. But I do think that, like you said, Jill, it's still also very alluring, which I think is what the first 10 or 15 minutes of the movie is communicating too, because it is so sexy, it is exciting, it is tantalizing, it is fun. Who wouldn't want this lifestyle? And then we watch David Bowie fall apart for 45 minutes.
And the makeup, like, we haven't really mentioned the makeup here. It's amazing.
Dick Smith on the makeup. I don't want to give him too much credit. He did the makeup in The Deer Hunter. So, I'll... No, I'm just kidding. I had a lot of notes about, like, makeup, effects. I had the monkey decaying scene that we get. The video, looks so good. Like, just true horror stuff.
It looks real almost.
I thought as Bowie aged, I don't know if anyone else got the feeling, but all I could think of was the grandpa from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's literally one of my notes.
It looks very similar to it, where we always talk about, it kind of looks weird, but it's like also disturbing. And I wasn't like, I'm not saying that as a hate. Like, I like that look in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was just like, oh, this is weird. Maybe my perception of what old people look like is weird, because
no, it's literally like, I was like, this is just like, it's the spit of Grandpa from Texas Chainsaw. The spit.
Yeah, and Bowie is so good underneath all of the heavy prosthetics. You can see like real pain and betrayal in his eyes, and I think that he got very good at acting with a lot of prosthetics, because he played the Elephant Man on stage a few years before this, which also required a lot of prosthetics, and it allowed him to figure out how to be an actor of body language. And we know in the 1960s he took a lot of mime courses, and a lot of Bowie's movements are like very pronounced when he was coming into prominence as a musician. So I think that he's kind of made for this kind of performance of body language down the stretch when he's so covered in makeup. I find him really, really just such a tragic figure in this movie.
And I thought it was cool, because with him rapidly aging, like, I feel like lots of other directors, especially if they were maybe more like embedded in the horror genre, like this kind of body horror, they could have got like really gross with it, right? Like decaying quickly, all this stuff, where I thought it was just so interesting that it's like still terrifying, but it's like we're kind of witnessing him, become this old man. And then it's stuff like, like his mind starting to slip a little, or, all these little things that this is going to be a weird thing to bring up when watching this. But I was thinking about us when we reviewed, what was that movie? You know, the Taking of Deborah Logan or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like we were talking about like Alzheimer's, like older people with Alzheimer's, and how it's like, how has no one, mined this subject for 8 million horror movies? Like, because the aging process and dementia and like things like that, like losing your youth is like so horrifying, I think, just for anybody that's, younger and alive. And yeah, I just thought it was really a great decision to not make it like just a gore body horror like type thing, where we do get some, I think, like classical type of that stuff later on when we talk about the ending and like the reveal of corpses and stuff like that. But I think like especially where I thought the monkey decaying like was like brutal and it was gross and stuff, and then not to necessarily take that visual of something like that grotesque and showing that it can also be grotesque as you're like slowly fading. I mean, for him it was quick, but compared to everyone else, I just thought it was like it's super interesting, just like great scenes of horror, which I thought there was quite a few in this, which I was surprised by because, I've read what everyone else has read on the internet. Like, I knew Roger Ebert hated this, and I knew all the, like, when it came out, all the kind of, like, oh, it's not very good, and all the lames that even now are like, oh, it's like this style thing. There's not a lot of it, where I was like, scenes like the monkey, scenes like him decaying, the killing of the kid, I thought was like harrowing and pretty intense.
That's a brutal scene.
I think there's a lot more horror-wise going on this than I was led to believe.
Yeah, and there's a poetry to it too, because we feel when the girl gets killed and Tony Scott ends the scene with her blood splattering on the sheet music of the music that she was playing, music that she loved so much. And these are character notes. Tony Scott is he's a director of sincerity, and that sincerity has sometimes like veered off into camp sometimes, which is why everyone thinks Top Gun is secretly a gay movie, because the masculinity is so cranked up to 11 and serious that it veers off into like homoeroticism. But in this movie, it's all of it just comes off as like very, it's like the exact right amount to me. I think that it's romantic, it's tragic, it's sensual, and I think that all of those elements are coursing between one another at all times, in the images, in the tone of the film, in the characterization that we see of these vampiric creatures.
The music that they play.
The music is great. Oh, one really fun thing that I don't know if you all picked up on, but like one of the scenes when Bowie is cruising again, he comes across a rollerblader, and the song that he's listening to is a slowed and reverbed version of Iggy Pop's Fun Home, or Fun Time. It's one of those two titles. And that's a song from 1977 off of an album that David Bowie produced. So it's this metatextual element. And there are lyrics in the song about being like hunted by vampires and stuff and hanging out with vampires. So it's almost like this jokey moment. But I also think that it's kind of lurid and interesting too, because it's happening at a time when he's like trying to like find his libidinality again and his sensuality and his strength. And I think it's kind of commenting on that first scene with Bauhaus's Bela Lugosi's dead. And I think that that's just a really smart usage of music. Like, we've talked a lot about the music, but the music in this is so good.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And, it's my other note from that scene was, goddamn, can somebody please bring back boomboxes?
I was a boombox kid. I used to walk around town carrying a boombox. So, bring it back.
It's just not the same thing to, like, if you were to go and take your little Bluetooth speaker or whatever and, like, put it on the ground. No, man, there's no aesthetic to that. Like, you gotta jam, like, 8 D-cell batteries that are going to be gone in 4 hours and it cost probably $40. It's a small price to pay for the aesthetic. I just fucking love that scene.
Yeah.
It's just like stunning. Stunning.
I can't believe we've gotten this far, so I've got to do it, I guess. I've got to be the guy to point it out. Just shout out to my guy, Dan Hedaya.
Oh, yes, of course.
A staple in young Rowan Fraser's life, as someone that has watched The Addams Family like 8 million times.
He gets like third or fourth billing at the beginning of the movie, too.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, I kind of got excited when he showed up because, which is kind of my note on the ending. We're not there yet, but the ending of this movie. But when he showed up, I was kind of all for it because I was like, oh shit, I was trying to be like, where is this going? And I was like, oh, we're about to turn into like an all-out giallo Italian horror film. Like, we got the detective now. He's going to be, like, on the case. Like, we're going to get, like, some Argento-type shit going on here. I don't think we really got into that, unfortunately. But, just a shout-out to him in general.
Yeah, I was gonna, like, point us in the direction of, like, all the sapphic stuff in this movie, because it takes up a huge chunk of the film, and I feel like we should talk about, like, Catherine Deneuve and Susan Sarandon's characters.
That was exactly where I was going, yeah. I was just curious, because I did manage to read a couple pieces on it, which I thought were interesting, where I've read some, queer writing on it, obviously, like, celebrating this movie, especially it being, like Warner Brothers, or, what company put this out? I guess Warner Brothers owns the
Warner Brothers, yeah.
Warner Brothers.
But like, like a mainstream movie in 83, like kind of centering this kind of lesbian romance in the forefront, where I've also seen queer writing criticisms on it of saying like they felt it was a little too, not enough substance in those relationships and still used a little too exploitative. I'm just curious about your guys' opinions on that.
Well, I think it's fucking hot, so...
I mean, yeah, that's where I land on this too.
Like, it's two of the hottest women who have ever committed their faces to film in an extremely sexy movie with lots of great lighting and flowing sheets and beautiful camera work and hot sexy clothing. Susan Sarandon, oh my god, what was we were saying the other day? Like Susan Sarandon in like a fucking white t-shirt, like
yeah.
Oh, the nipples.
Yeah, with the nipples, exactly. No bra.
That's what I was talking about with Mike. Like, I literally sent him, like, the text. Like, I sent him a text yesterday where I was just like, God, if I looked like Susan Sarandon, I would only wear white t-shirts and no bras, too. Like,
I was just curious how that white t-shirt got soaking wet. It wasn't wet the scene before, and then it was just soaking wet. Well, I mean...
Read between the lines, Rowan.
I was going to say, I felt watching that, I actually thought it was, like, far from exploitative. I was expecting it to be more exploitative in actuality. And I like that they don't really approach that relationship till Bowie is kind of out of the picture. Just because I think it would be very easy to turn this into like a 3-way movie.
That would have been great too.
Which I'd also be down for, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, listen, if I could have more Bowie in this, I get more Bowie in this. But I thought 100%. It was a choice to kind of wait to have Bowie removed. So it wasn't like these two girls and this guy. And that I thought it was interesting to be able to then place their seduction and relationship for the rest of the movie, and it's actually not interrupted by a guy.
It's foregrounded.
I mean, other than Cliff DeYoung, it's Slate's podcast alumni from The Craft, but and we haven't done Dr. Giggles yet. That'll have to happen someday.
God.
But more Rowan lore.
And I mean, he just provides the like foil of hetero nonsense. So
yeah, he's just like constantly questioning Sarah and like trying to turn her away.
The whole dinner scene is like just essentially underlines the fact that like, oh, they actually have way more chemistry than her, pseudo straight relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For some reason, it reminded me of the guys from Curtains, where it was just like these silly straight people.
It is so hot when Catherine Deneuve is hunting her, basically, and playing the song on the piano, like the old ballad that's like a romantic song between two women, while Susan Sarandon is just sitting back
drinking
with her,
sherry.
drinking sherry with her leg draped over the easy chair.
Can I tell you, I took
looks like
about 80 screenshots of that because I opened it up on my laptop and was like, screenshot.
It's so suggestive. And then like Susan Sarandon is like, isn't that a romantic song about two women?
And she's just like, oh, I don't know, I guess. like she didn't know exactly what she was doing.
I love the trance.
She's like, I'm not hunting.
That Sarah's in the whole time because like you can kind of tell that she doesn't really know what's going on, but she's all here for it, and like she's trying to figure it out. It's like her sexual awakening, and I really like that about it as well. Besides it being so fucking hot.
Yeah, it's so hot. And then like the actual sex scene itself, I think is really delicately handled. I think that it doesn't feel overtly like exploitative, like you said, Rowan. I think it's shot like a fucking music video, but I think that that's in its favor. I think you have all of these billowing curtains, and there's a lot of water imagery, and then it's, you know, two of the most beautiful women of the era, just like nude and on top of each other, and it's great. And then, but like the really interesting thing though is like the scene ends with Susan Sarandon ordering a bloody steak at a restaurant. Like it smash cuts to that, and she's carving right in the middle of it. It's in the center of the frame. The blood is oozing everywhere, and it's so suggestive. And Brian Fuller, the guy who made Hannibal, said that this film was a huge inspiration for him on Hannibal, and you can see it right there in that moment.
Yeah. And then it's just the dude completely breaking the trance of that whole previous scene.
Yeah.
I mean, all of this is, you know, you really struck gold, I think, when we see so many directors that come from like commercial making and stuff. And this is, I always find usually they're pretty good at, the style over substance because they're used to making these short. They need to be stylish, catch people's eyes. But it's always such a treat when like it actually transfers over to just making, I think, like a good movie. If only this guy was related to other famous directors named Scott, it would be like perfect. But he's
the only one.
Yeah, he's the only one that exists. I was going to say, too, it was just interesting for me about with the seduction of Sarah and stuff. I thought it was also interesting, too, just because not only is she getting seduced by Miriam, but it's like also, I thought they did a good job conveying, like, she's still very, like, scientific mind, and she's so curious about scientific that, like, she's also, you can tell she's seduced by this part of, like, oh, like, she wants to know what happened. She wants to know, you know, where the blood leads, where the diseases lead, all that kind of stuff. And I think it's interesting to make the character complex with that, which I thought was very interesting because the big criticism of this movie that I always read is style over substance. The characters aren't very deep, where I was like, I felt the characters were like adequately deep. I kind of got their vibe, what their deal was, what, you know, made them passionate, what made them angry. I really didn't see an issue with any of the character development in this at all.
Yeah, me neither. I'm on your side. I don't really know why people think this is style over substance. I think it is heavy on the style, but that doesn't have to mean that there's no substance here. Like stylistically, this is a beautiful movie. Vampire movies have to be beautiful. They have to be lush. They have to be dripping with like blood, sex, opulence, all of those things, which this is. But like you said, the characters are fine. Like I don't see the characters lacking in any way. I find them to be interesting. I think everything is pretty much well fleshed out. The only issue I really had with this movie, and this is very minor, it's just the ending for me, like the kind of continuous, like open-ended ending instead of...
And we should get into the ending. I'm not sure.
Sure.
I'm not sure if as a collective group we should allow Jill to have opinion on vampire movies she doesn't like From Dusk Till Dawn. I'm pretty sure that excludes her from having opinions.
It's not my type of vampire movie.
I
okay?
mean, it's just...
This is my type of vampire movie.
It's just, I don't know what to tell you. Some people have taste, some people don't.
I'm just a girl.
But yeah, I mean, let's talk about the ending, because I feel like we've brought it up a couple times just in like, in mentioning it. I see a lot of hate online for the ending. Obviously, I think a lot of the people involved in the film didn't love the ending from what I read. I mean, I did read Bowie only really liked the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, because that's when he looked hot.
I mean...
I was surprised he said he thought it was too bloody. Bowie not a horror guy? Like, not a bloody horror guy, I guess, maybe? I don't know.
What's that about?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Defend Bowie, Willow, now.
Well, you can't back up every single thing a person will say. I don't agree with him here. But yeah, you were saying that some of the actors don't actually like this movie, and I think that the disconnect happened because the studio got shy about the film, and they wanted more coherency at the end. They wanted to bring back Susan Sarandon's character in case they wanted to make sequels, because horror sequels were like big money at the time, but it didn't actually make any sense to bring Susan Sarandon's character back. From what I've read, the film was originally going to end with Susan Sarandon's character rejecting Catherine Deneuve's Miriam, killing herself in the process, and ending the trance, and her rejecting her love, her offer of extended life, and that scene does happen in the movie, but then the hunger goes on for another 15 minutes after that moment when she does slit her own throat. And I think that the film does lose some of its coherency in that last 15 minutes, and I think that is a very fair point to bring up if you're going to criticize the film. I think that it would be a much stronger film if it did end with Susan Sarandon killing herself there in that moment of her rejecting Miriam. But I don't hate the next 15 minutes either, because
let's fucking go, Willow.
It's such an extravaganza of prosthetics and just real explicit horror stuff that I can't help but
let's go.
Really enjoy all of that stuff too.
What do we love on the It Slays podcast more than anything? Italian horror. And I was like, this is so the beyond.
So Fulci.
Absolutely.
I was like, this is awesome. Does it kind of take away from the impact of the ending? Yes, but I don't give a shit. You know what? If this movie is going to be a style over substance movie, then give me some fucking Italian style.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. It was fantastic. I thought the effects was good. Good job, Dick Smith. I wish you were this good in The Deer Hunter, but you're not. I wonder how many times I can put this movie down in this episode.
Oh my God.
This is going to be the Deer Hunter episode. But yeah, I mean, let's go, Willow. We're rocking right now.
Dusty corpses.
Yep. Bowie comes back in the last 15 minutes as his dusty corpse self, along with all of Miriam's other lovers, and they have come for their revenge.
And it's not totally sort of out of the blue either, because, she does talk about her former lovers, a few of them specifically, and talk to them, and you do see there is reference made to them a lot. So I just think that it's just taking the acknowledgement of these other companions to its next logical step at the end of a movie. I just think it makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense in a way that is totally nonsensical and grand guignol.
Also very
absolutely
very Return of the Living Dead coded. Where Linnea Quigley's all the old men just grabbing her and taking her down. I thought about that with this, where I was like, oh, okay, just all these corpses just getting
I thought
at
about
her.
Poltergeist a little bit, the ending of Poltergeist.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, and Rose just always thinking of Linnea Quigley, because why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? I mean, that's just, you're stupid if you aren't.
And honestly, it's a really cool moment to call back to the monkey decaying in real time, but through Miriam, because that's what she's experiencing. I think the implication is that what's Susan Sarandon's character's name in this movie?
Sarah.
This movie? Sarah. Yeah, I think the implication is that she injected her with some of the stuff that she injected the monkey with, or she got her blood mixed with that too, and it started happening to Miriam, and she freaks out, she starts decaying. She never thought she was going to die because she doesn't have to deal with the same kind of necrosis that her lovers do, and I do think that is really a great kind of freak out nightmare moment.
Yeah. And I mean, Susan Sarandon did immediately run to the lab and was very open with, like, hey, this shit is happening to me. And they're, like, talking about, like, what's in her blood and stuff. So I think you're right. I think that is definitely implied.
I never thought about that until now, but now that you say that, that definitely connects and all the gears are moving in my head. Before I was like, oh, this is like vampire logic where you take down the big baddie and then everyone else, like, kind of dies. But I like the scientific explanation a little more.
Yeah, so what did you think about the last 15 minutes and it twisting the mythology that we had come to understand before that moment of, like, this kind of tacked on ending that we had?
I like the tacked on ending with, like, the revenge. I love revenge. I love
it's very creep show too.
Corpses.
I thought it was very Tales from the Crypt creep show.
Like that. What I didn't, this is the part that I didn't love. It's not that. It's the part where Sarah is, like, in London or whatever, and she's still alive. Like, I think that's what hurts me the most, is that she doesn't want to live forever, and now she has to carry on this curse. It's a little bit different now because she's kind of taken over Miriam's role, but it sounds kind of horrible that, like, I just wanted her to die in peace, but that's kind of what I wanted.
Susan Sarandon wanted that too, so
oh yeah
she did.
She hates the ending, so
she was like, this is not the movie that I made. She wanted her character to be killed because she thinks that her character surviving actually, like, undoes the metaphor that worked for her as an actress. She thought of it as an addiction story, and her character was not agreeing to, like, go on with this addiction. Like, she had a taste of it, but, like, she was strong enough to stand up to it, and she thinks that the ending ruined her character.
I totally get that. That's kind of what my issue was. I think it just, like, kind of goes against the logic of it all, and that kind of coherence, and the fact that she was a victim and now I guess she's the villain now. Like, she's carrying on this toxic cycle.
I guess you won't know until this is getting added on the pile of Colton's list of like sequels and remakes that we told him he's gonna direct. So The Hunger 2 and the : even hungrier.
He's not going to have hot lesbian sex in his movie.
I don't know. That sounds like something.
It's going to be like hetero missionary sex in his vampire movie.
Not hetero missionary. You really said, let me just pick out the most boring ass offensive words
Cut
I could
this out,
use.
please. He's going to come for me.
So with that, are we good to land the plane and get in the rating this?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So if you're new to the podcast, our rating system is nay, okay, yay, or slay. Jill, we're going to start with you because this was your first time seeing it. What would you rate 1983's The Hunger?
I am going to give The Hunger a yay. Because I think this is, man, if I saw this like in my youth, like as a teenager, this would have gotten like worn down. It would have been up there in the rotation, like constantly playing it, because it's all the things that I find to be lavish and indulgent in a movie, especially a vampire movie, like how gothic it is. We talked about like the curtains billowing in the wind, like the set of the mansion is amazing. You've got hot lesbian sex, you've got blood, you've got David Bowie, you've got Bauhaus, killer soundtrack. And I also didn't really touch on this like very much, but I do really like the Ankh and like the inclusion of Egyptian
what a great
imagery.
weapon.
Yeah. I really like that in my vampire folklore. So, yeah, I don't really have anything bad to say about it, except maybe it would be a slay if the ending wasn't what happened to Sarah's character. It made me a little sad, but apart from that, I had a really good time. I will be rewatching this. Might have to get my hands on a little physical copy of this one. It will be rewatched sometime soon. But yeah, it's a yay from me. What about you, Willow?
We have like basically the same exact opinion about this movie. It's a strong yay for me too. And it would be a slay if not for maybe the last couple minutes of the movie. I do think that the survival of Susan Sarandon's character does damage the film a little bit. It doesn't undo all of the positive aspects of the film. I think that it is a beautifully stylistic, extravagant, expressionistic, romantic tragedy. I think that it gives me almost everything that I could ever ask for from a vampire picture. There's very few vampire pictures that I like more than this one. The ones that I do are probably like Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula movie from the early 90s, Jean Rollins vampire movies I think I prefer, but like this is way up there for me. It's a strong yay. How about you, Mike?
Okay, I mean, we're all kind of on the same page with this, which I love, but I'm slaying it. Honestly, yes, do I get annoyed by the survival of Sarah when she did not want to? Obviously, yes, of course. Do I think that she looks really cunt with those curtains billowing on that beautiful balcony? Fuck yes. Listen, this movie has everything that I look for in cinema. It's horror. It's cunt. It's got great music. It's got beautiful lighting. The costumes make me want to jump off of a fucking roof. They're so beautiful. I always say, Ro has said style over substance critique, 20 times tonight. Style is substance, and I think that's especially true in this case. I just think it's a beautiful, tragic, sexy fucking movie, and I just love watching it. And even though I was traumatized for a couple years and couldn't rewatch it, I'm like, maybe I got a panic attack because my body couldn't handle all of the cunt that this movie was serving. I did a cunt rejection before then accepting it. So yeah, it's total slay. I fucking love it. Again, I could watch it a million times. The sexiest people, live David Bowie, Step on Me, From the Afterlife, etc. Ro, where are you landing?
I did not expect this coming in. I can't believe this, that I was going to rate this higher than Jill and Willow. I'm giving it a slay. This is...
Yes!
Fuck yeah.
You know how I feel about my boy there, NWR. Like Neon Demon Drive. Like, this is like, puts me in that mode where I always talk about style over substance. I'm here for it. That's me, baby. So I really, really enjoyed this. And I wasn't even sure how much I was going to enjoy it. But even the minute this started, the minute we had the Bela Lugosi is dead, I was so game. And it doesn't help that I'm like such a huge Tony Scott guy, and just I thought this was great. It's interesting to say, like, it makes me love Top Gun and The Man on Fires and stuff more, just because like I can see things he pulled from this like into those, and it was fantastic. And I want to give a shout out in this section to where I do own the VHS of this, but like I said, it was buried. I didn't want to dig it out, not on any streamers, just to let you know, in Canada at least. But I got to give a shout out because I'm in Nova Scotia, and right now in Nova Scotia there's like a government war on libraries right now. They're like, my local library, they totally like defunded. It's closing down. They've closed like 5 in the province.
It's awful.
But on my Roku, I've got, I don't know if anyone else uses it. It's called Hoopla. It's basically, if you have a library card, it lets you access library systems all over Canada. And I watched this from the Toronto Public Library. They had this to borrow. So I watched my copy from there. And great quality. It was great. And I will say, I was searching Hoopla. They've got movies that aren't even on VOD yet. Like new movies that you can borrow from So, support your libraries. That's my little...
Libraries get a slay.
Yeah, libraries get a slay also. Unanimous slay, I would hope. Maybe not from Mike. Mike's one of those audiobook guys. Jeez.
You can also borrow audiobooks,
I'm just
right?
teasing.
How
I'm
dare
teasing.
you?
I always tell Exilia that she doesn't really read anymore because she listens to audiobooks. She does read also, but...
I'm illiterate.
Yeah.
So, what can I say?
So, 2 slays, 2 yays, and like I said, not where I thought I was going to get all those from, but fantastic. So, we told you what we thought about it, and we asked you what you thought about it. We did get a couple answers in. For some reason, I just knew all the answers for this was going to come in on Bluesky. I don't know why. I think it's just all our artsy people are over there. Unfortunately for Mike missed last episode where one of our new followers that came to us from the Blair Witch 2 movie, you missed that his name is Deerston Kunst.
Oh, that name, yes.
They didn't respond to this one, but I just had to make sure you knew that was a follower of ours now.
Yes, and you knew that I was not going to be listening to the Jurassic Park episode, so I would never find it.
Yeah, because you knew it would just be too good.
Yeah.
So I saw we had Zaddy Melk write in and said, "The hunger gave me what I've been waiting from 2 Broke Girls and Wicked, along with questions about unresolved trauma and vampiric biology."
We do love 2 girls, 1 hookup. That's it. Just delete me, fire me. Goodbye.
We had Sean Gilman write in and say, "Slay, though to be fair, I've never seen it sober." I don't know if you have to. I mean, I think this would be better if I was hammered. It'd be a super slay.
Yeah.
I'd have to make another tier just for that, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
We had Neil Snowden write in and say, "Stunning movie, especially the opening sequence, but really all through. Tony made a classic right out of the gate, and if anything, the movie only grows in my estimation every time I see it. To be clear, it is a slay. It slays." And then we had D write in and say, "Yay. Close to slay, wanted more vampy smut." And then they added, "I just saw this recently. I found it to be a wild mix of all vampire backdrops, from the sexy goth punky club beginning to the mansion drama. Love Devenue. Is it Devenue? How do I say your last name? Devenue. You know I'm illiterate when it comes to names.
Rowan, I love you.
As the big bad queen and her floating through time. Everything looked hazy and kind of messed up. Sometimes felt the plot wanted a bit much. Would have been nice to dwell a bit more on what if had going on instead. Like its darkly erotic power dynamic themes. The build up towards the end was cool. Did not see Sarandon's development coming in the way it did." I love when people give detailed, opinions like that. So it's not just me being like, "This looks real fucking good." This is, this guy directed Tom Cruise too. That's the most important thing to remember. Then we had Josh write in and said, "Sexiest horror movie ever made." And then, last but not least, putting the fun in Funeral, they said, "Slay, no question."
Yes, yep.
The hunger, not a big one for responses from Instagram or Slash or anywhere. I wonder, just maybe a little underrated. More people need to see it or something.
I mean, you said it's not streaming anywhere, so people maybe just don't know if they have access to it right now.
Well, like I said, at least if you're in Canada, take advantage of that library
it's on Tubi
app
in the US.
Oh, there you go. So, and I believe it was on Tubi, and I've seen it 800 times on the Tubi screen, but it's not there anymore, of course, because we're reviewing it. And why would you keep it up if I needed to watch this? So yeah, with that, we are going. Actually, before we get to that, I forgot when I talked about the going to see Dream Warriors. I want to spend this time just to shout out a dedicated It Slays follower from like day one, Terpesta, from Instagram. He's been following us like since it was me, Mike, and Exilia. I met him he came and introduced himself at the Dream Warriors thing and said, hey, I'm Terpesta from Instagram. And he also mentioned how much he loved we did the Blair Witch 2 movie. And he was like, I had to say hi, like I've been following forever. And I was like, sweet, man. It's nice to put like, names of faces, not just your profile picture on Instagram.
Also, we did sort of land on Blair Witch 2 is underrated, or maybe that was just me.
No, I think we all kind of liked it. It's very 2000s. So with that, we're going to go over to Horror Hound Nicholas at the Horrific Hotline. He left a message for us and see what he had to say about The Hunger.
Okay, so I've just rewatched The Hunger, and that was a pleasant surprise. It is, I think, one of those movies I watched in my teens and found it a bit boring back then. But looking at it like as an adult, there is much more in it, and I found it way more interesting. I do have some small pacing issues. So overall, I think I won't land on a slay, rather a yay for this one, but it is definitely a very interesting watch, a cool idea to tackle like the vampire myth. You have 3 cool main characters or main actors and actresses. Especially love the scene where David Bowie is aging as like the end of like the first act of the movie, rapidly aging. Some of the ideas of trying to explain a bit how the vampirism works, and the dynamic between Susan Sarandon's character and, don't let me lie, is it Catherine Deneuve? Something French.
It's the exact same pronunciation.
Vampire in the movie is really interesting. There is a lot there. Great movie. Also surprised to see Willem Dafoe very briefly in a
we
scene
didn't even talk about that.
Is even shorter than his
is
very
true.
short
There's just too
appearance
much.
in like Crybaby. So always nice to see this guy pop up anywhere. And again, I knew I found it a bit boring as a teenager, but I was surprised seeing it again after so many years, knowing that is by Tony Scott, who he did like Top Gun and the Taking of Pelham remake, and I think I'm missing a lot, like Last Boy Scout, so many rapidly cut action movies that look like advertisement for the US military and so on. And this one wasn't that. So not that it is boring or super slow, but it is a bit slower. It takes its time, and the shots are not always as rapid. So interesting to see, and it would have been interesting, I think, to see what he could have done with another horror IP, or at least another horror movie. Well, sadly, he did die a few years ago, which is really sad because I am a huge fan of him. Just remember now, like Enemy of the State with Will Smith and Gene Hackman, Crimson Tide, so many great movies. If you have the minute to spare, next to The Hunger, are you guys like Tony Scott fans or rather not? And if yes, what is your favorite movie of his besides maybe The Hunger?
Yeah, I've not seen, I don't think, any of his movies, but True Romance is like on my list and I need to watch that yesterday.
So like Rowan, I am a big Tony Scott fan.
Hell yeah.
I basically like every single movie he made. And my favorite movie that he did make is not The Hunger. It is actually Deja Vu with Denzel
Hell
Washington.
yeah, let's go.
And I think that Unstoppable with Denzel Washington is also incredible. And Man on Fire with Denzel Washington is also incredible.
My God.
He worked with Denzel so often, and I think that Denzel has been a bit adrift ever since Tony Scott passed away. They were so good together. I love all of the movies that they made together. And Jill, if you're going to watch a Tony Scott movie, I think the one that you might actually like the most is Domino, because it's about Keira Knightley plays this female bounty hunter, and she's cunt the whole way through. And
it's very stylish.
It's very stylish, and I believe she is on some sort of revenge mission in that. Am I correct, Mike? It's been a little while since I've seen it.
I haven't seen that in a million years. I believe you're right. I actually have had that on my list to rewatch for the last couple months. So
okay, 4K win. Is all
seriously.
I'm saying. Okay, so what about you, Rowan? What are your favorite Tony Scott movies?
I mean, I feel like this is like when you ask a parent to name their favorite kids. They can do it, but they don't really want to. I mean, it's just like, do I list them off? I mean, so many of my personal favorite is Man on Fire. I remember seeing that in the theater and just like being blown away. Like, it's like a fond memory I have of like going to the theater with Exilia. It was like a movie Exilia really enjoyed, and like it was a movie we bought the minute it came out, and I remember like watching it like in our like first apartment all the time. But I mean, yeah, you can't really go wrong with him. I rewatch movies of his all the time. Like, I mean, even Top Gun's good. Like, I mean, there's lots of jokes about Cruise, and you know, I'm always talking about Cruise and how much I love him, but Top Gun's a pretty good movie. Like, it's a banger. I recently rewatched Crimson Tide and Deja Vu. Also bangers. Crimson Tide, I'd highly suggest that if you're maybe a little younger and you haven't seen that, watch it, because the cast is crazy in that. Like Viggo Mortensen, James Gandolfini, Denzel, Gene Hackman. Like, it's just a crazy cast. And yeah, I'm just sitting here naming. Also, Beverly Hills Cop 2, which I think is wildly underrated. I know people kind of hate on that one. I think it's still a pretty good movie. And Enemy of the State, also fantastic. Like you said, when Will Smith wasn't slapping people. I'm very curious, Mike. I feel like you can joke, but I feel like you're maybe deep down a Top Gun guy.
Oh, okay, listen. Top Gun truly
Kelly
does
McGillis?
have an iconic soundtrack. I love Kelly McGillis. Love her. Love Kelly. Love the homoeroticy present in in that film. But it is not my favorite Tony Scott film, despite the fact that I do have the vinyl of the soundtrack, and it has Take My Breath Away by Berlin on it, which is arguably the greatest ballad of all time. Arguably. I'm not saying it is, but you could make that point. If I'm saying my favorite Tony Scott, I'm obviously going to be unpopular in this, but mine is going to be The Hunger. But if you took The Hunger out of the equation, love True Romance. I do actually also really enjoy Days of Thunder. But here we go.
I love Days of Thunder too.
Days of Thunder, which
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. And again, okay, do we want to talk about how another one of the contenders for greatest ballad of all time? The other one is in Days of Thunder, and it's Show Me Heaven by Maria McKee. Like, he knows how to find banger, like, power ballads. That's all I'm saying. But I'm going to pull out a deep cut that is probably my favorite other than The Hunger. And that is the underrated 1996 The Fan.
Nice.
With Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes. A good old, we love a New York movie. Honestly,
one of my friends said this about Tony Scott, and I think it's extremely true, The Hunger notwithstanding. He said, Tony Scott is the greatest dad rock director of all time.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone needs a little dad rock in their life, so... yeah, love that. So if you want to send in a message to the Verifica hotline like our horror hound Nicholas, you can do so by emailing it at itslayespodcast@gmail.com, or simply just sending it over social media or anything. Anyway, you can get us a voice note. We'll make sure we can play it on the podcast. And if you're not doing so, you can follow us on any social media at itslayespodcast. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher, Bluesky, Letterboxd, TikTok, Tumblr, Threads. I don't know, man. We're just wherever there is a social media, we are probably there at It Slays Podcast. And Jill, why don't you tell the people how they can become a horror hound, and let's give a shout out to the amazing horror hounds we already have.
If you'd like to join the ranks of our horror hounds like Holly, Nicholas, Socratype, Dan, Brian, Trevor, James, Philip, and James, head on over to Patreon/It's Podcast and check out the tier that works best for you. Benefits include early access to our episodes and also access to our Patreon exclusive show, Stream Screams. Now, I gotta hope that Bela Lugosi is Dead's already on the playlist, but if it's not,
I don't think it is, but we'll have to add
it.
Yeah, we gotta add it. Maybe some of the score, because the score is fantastic on this. Michael Rubini, I don't know, maybe a gay icon in himself, or at least adjacent. I noted that not only does he do lots of scores and stuff, but has personally worked with Cher and Barbra Streisand doing music, so killing it. And my personal favorite, Ray Charles, so he's even winning in my books there as well. But yeah, I'm sure we'll add something. You can find out. Go to Spotify to the It Slays Podcast Horrific playlist. If you have any problem finding it, you can go to any of the social media I just mentioned a little while ago. Go into the bio, click the Linktree link. There's a button that will take you directly there. We upload scores and licensed music from iconic horror movies we review, or just horror movies we love. We update it regularly. So get your spooky music on, because why the hell not? There's one last thing I've got to promote, and that is the new TerrorVision that is going on Wednesday, July 15th. At the Cineplex in Lower Sackville. I say we, like I'm the one paying for all this. We will be sponsoring it. There'll be prizes, lots of theme prizes for the night, but they are doing the 1982 film Creep Show. I believe it's like a 4K transfer. It's going to be an awesome time. Doors open at 6:30. The pre-show and the film start at 7:30. So get your tickets. It's going to be a banger time. I'm super excited for this one. All that is left is to announce our upcoming episode. And to some, it's those dreaded words. It's a Mike pick. Mike, what do you have us watching for next episode?
First of all, think you misspoke when you meant to say the words that get them wet.
Oh, maybe. I just remember years ago, we always talked about that we should have shirts that just said, what did Mike just make us watch? And then we never made them. Yeah. It seems like we need to bring them to the people.
Maybe we do.
Yeah.
So, yes, get out your pitchforks. Make sure you are wearing the what the fuck did Mike make us watch shirts. I hope they're hoodies. I could really get behind a hoodie.
Yeah, good
moment.
Good, nice hoodie. It's always a
nice
thick,
nice thick hoodie, a little bit baggy with like a nice deep pocket on the front for putting snacks in and your phone. Because we are gonna watch from 1995 the Canadian classique Species.
Oh, okay.
So get your eyes on Species, and we'll be back talking about that. Willow, I got to leave a little breathing room here for you to promote anything you got coming up. Any reasons why you'll just never be on the podcast again. Anything you want to say to the people. Let them know where to follow you.
It's always a blast to be on this podcast. I love all of you. It's super fun, and especially when we're talking about a movie as good as this one. And if you like what you heard from me here, you can follow me on social media at Bluesky underneath my name. I'm also on Letterboxd, Instagram. I wrote a book called Corpses, Fools, and Monsters, The History and Future of Transcendent Cinema. And for our horror audience here, I worked on some very exciting 4Ks in the last year, such as Lucio Fulci's Zombie Flesh Eaters, Berberian Sound Studio, Arrow's The House with the Laughing Windows, and I have a lot of stuff coming up in the future that's very exciting that I will hopefully be able to talk to you about the next time I am on
some criterions.
I did just finish working on The Crying Game, which is not a horror film. It's an erotic thriller, which that would be like very appealing to Mike and Rowan's idea of hosting an erotic thriller podcast.
Yes.
But yeah, I just wrote the booklet essay for The Crying Game. That's coming out in July.
Hopefully you get that call for the Criterion release of Sucker Punch. They need to get you on there.
Dude, I want to be on there.
I will suggest that they give that job to Jill if they ever get in touch with me for such a thing. But yeah, I'm very grateful that Criterion let me write the booklet essay for The Crying Game, and I hope I can do more stuff with them in the future. That disc comes out in July, which is Pride Month in Newfoundland. And yeah, that's about it for me. Thanks for having me on. This was a total blast.
Always thank you for coming.
Yes.
It's always the most amazing time.
So as always, thank you everyone for all the support, all the listens, all the comments. It's been fun. The interaction stuff online has been so much. It's bigger and bigger. Slasher's been a big hot spot right now. So shout out to all you guys. But that's it for us this episode. So as always, I'm your humble host, Rowan.
Thanks for everything. It's Mike.
Bye, it's Jill.
Hope to see you guys soon.
See you later.